home of the hottest team in baseball is Shea Stadium. Tonight, the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds battle on ESPN. Good evening, I'm Bob Carpenter. When the season started, it was all Cincinnati Reds with 9 consecutive wins in the National League West. But now in the month of June, it's the Mets with 10 straight. They're the talk of the National League and getting close to the top of the East. Wasn't that way 3 weeks ago. 9.5 back of the Pirates they were, 4 games under 500. But here they are, 11 over 500 now, and within a single game of the first place Pirates. And Jim Palmer, a couple of key ingredients, the managing change to Buddy Harrelson and the resurgent hitting of Darryl Strawberry.
Yes, very simple formula for the Mets. Buddy Harrelson as a player was what I'd call an overachiever. Had to come to the ballpark well prepared. That's what he asked his Met ball club to do. No more golf on the road, no more card playing when you're watching the ball game. Don't do it from the clubhouse, do it on the bench. And of course, the timely hitting of the Mets offense. They have just been awesome over the last couple of weeks. Look at this, 17 out of 19. How have they done it? They've just scored runs. Chuck Hiller, the new third base coach, his arms tendonitis from waving guys in. And I'll tell you what, Darryl Strawberry, last 17 games, 8 home runs.
A 17-game hitting streak for Strawberry, who may be hitting as well in his career now as he ever has before. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Reds, after that quick start, have seen a couple of would-be challengers. At one point, their lead was down to 5 in the West, but now the Giants, even with a great start this month, 9.5 games back. But, Jim, lately the Reds have been basically the 500 club after the big start.
Well, Lou Piniella, the manager of the Reds, said we are treading water. Did have a fantastic start, but when you are leading the National League in batting average, you are first in pitching and third in defense, you don't have a lot of problems. I think the one problem that the Cincinnati Reds have, and we'll see a little bit of tonight, is their starting pitching. Jose Reja will go on the DL, and we'll see Rick Mailer tonight. He's not outstanding. So I'll tell you what, if there's a one Achilles heel, a tendon, so to speak, for the Cincinnati Reds, it is their starting pitching. We'll see how they fare tonight.
And in front of a big crowd here at Shea Stadium this evening, we'll see how the Mets starter Bob Ojeda fares against the Cincinnati Reds in the first inning. The 32-year-old left-hander, 3-3 career against Cincinnati as he delivers to Billy Hatcher. Grounder to left side. Howard Johnson's got it. And quickly, a good play for the game's first out.
Yeah, big play, because the one thing you want to do is keep the first 2 Reds off base. That's where you start if you're Bob Ojeda in the defense for the Mets. That's why Howard Johnson playing so shallow. 17 infield hits for Billy Hatcher. Nice play by Howard. Hojo, they call him here in New York.
Bobby Ojeda's numbers in the bullpen earlier this year. Very unhappy about it. Now a starter full-time, and Barry Larkin steps in.
And one of the big things that Bud Harrelson has done, the strike on the outside corner, has come up with a solid, solidified, everybody knows when they are pitching type of pitching staff. Davey Johnson, the former manager of the Mets, really wanted to make everybody happy. It didn't work.
A shot down the right field side is foul. And you know, Jim, it filters right down to the extra players. Not the Strawberries, but guys like O'Malley and Mercado. Eric Davis is the on-deck hitter for Cincinnati, one of the superstars of the game. But those guys who aren't the stars, Buddy Harrelson has let them know what their roles are on that ball club.
Oh, very important thing that a manager has to do. And of course, if you're Bob Ojeda, he said it was like being a prize fighter and somebody that decked you with a wild right. That's the way he felt when he found out he wasn't going to start. You can just see this is his 8th start. Here's a quality pitcher. And the big decision that Davey Johnson and now Bud Harrelson have had to make is who is going to be the starting staff. Is it going to be Ojeda? And there's Bud right in the middle. To his left, our right, Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, and third base coach with the glasses, Chuck Hiller.
And Ojeda had the right-hander Larkin reaching. And he turned it over on him a little bit for strikeout, number 1.
Bob, that's what you will see all night. Bob Ojeda learned his craft up in Fenway Park as a left-hander with the Red Sox, and you better use both sides of the plate. You better learn a changeup to have the hitters off stride. You're going to see the right-handers out on their front foot. He will establish the fastball inside as you look at the Mets bench.
Mercado and O'Malley as we pan by. Kevin McReynolds out of the lineup tonight because of an earache. Darryl Boston has a bit of a nagging injury, so he's not in there either. Eric Davis is in there and doing a big job for the Reds lately, Jim.
Oh, boy, is he. 425 over the last 12 games, 6 home runs. The batting average does not belie how bad he was really going early. I mean, he was hitting down in the 190s. They were about to name an interstate after him, interstate highway. But he's come back, problems with his knee. You won't see him run as much as you have traditionally in the past.
Here's how well he's been going lately. A month ago today, Eric Davis hit his second home run of the year. Now he's in double figures.
Also his right knee, the one you push off if you're a right-handed batter. Talking to Mackie Sasser, he said that Ojeda will maybe, that is maybe if his changeup is good, throw 60% changeup. Key to Bob is to be head in the strike count.
And even in the count, he dropped one low and away that Davis fought off.
Yeah, he'll get you just kind of out there guarding the outside corner. As you look at Chris Sable, the Reds' third baseman, he's on deck.
And by the way, that home run 1 month ago today came on a night in Cincinnati right after Davey Johnson had been fired. When Ojeda and Browning battled, and the Reds were 2-1 winners in that ball game, hours after Johnson had left town. He got it away from Davis for a second strikeout. An easy 1-2-3 for Bob Ojeda. And in a moment, the Mets on a roll to the plate at home.
10 statement-size copies.
Right away. The problem with some copiers is having to deal with those annoying paper trays. No one seems to know where to put them. And they always seem to show up in the most awkward places.
10 letter-size copies.
No problem. Minolta has done away with all of that with our new space-saving copier. Its 3 front-loading paper drawers make it compact enough to fit in any office. And those annoying paper trays? They're a thing of the past.
Those big firms, they sure have a handle on their business. And now I will, with new MCI Vision. Till now, only the fortunate 500 got the cost control and customization MCI Vision has. Because until now, most long-distance companies thought that we were too small. Well, we're not. Ask our controller. Why is MCI the only company that sees us as we really are? I don't know. Maybe they have a little better perspective.
Introducing MCI Vision. Big business long distance for your business.
Welcome back to Shea Stadium, home of the New York Mets, the hottest team in the National League. And the Sears diehard starting lineup for the Mets, hitting .262 as a team. Gets things started with center fielder Keith Miller. Red Hot Dave Magadan batting second at first base, with Greg Jeffries, the second baseman, batting third. On a 17-game hitting streak is right fielder Darryl Strawberry. Howard Johnson batting fifth at third base, with left fielder Mark Carrion batting sixth. The catcher batting seventh is Mackie Sasser, followed by shortstop Kevin Elster and the pitcher Bob Ojeda.
Defense for the Cincinnati Reds, newly acquired Glenn Braggs in right field. Eric Davis will be the center fielder. Billy Hatcher will be the left fielder. Chris Sabo at third. Barry Larkin at shortstop. Mariana Duncan, former shortstop, great range at second. Al Morris subbing for Todd Benzinger at first base. Joe Oliver, and there's the pitcher, Rick Mailer. He hopes that his defense will be a little bit better than the time we had to present it to you.
Rick Mailer also hopes he has a little more success against the Mets than he has in his career. 2-10 career against New York in his time with the Braves and the Reds. A 2-2 start with a save. He's been in the bullpen some this year. On the DL earlier with a pulled thigh muscle, and now back as a starter. Not much heat from this guy. He'll nibble around the plate all night, try to keep hitters off balance.
Fastballs on the corners, changeup when he's behind, big curveball when he's ahead in the count. Occasional slider. And he said he's working on one of those circle changeups. And that's he's going to throw against left-handed batters.
And Keith Miller in the lineup tonight for Buddy Harrelson. Not a whole lot of playing time lately. A chopper to short. Larkin, nice charge with a throw on the run. Miller, the starting center fielder earlier this year, but platooned lately. It's 85 in New York City this evening. The skies are hazy, and we have a 30% chance of thunderstorms. Not real humid. It'll get cooler as the night goes on, but a good night for the pitchers. It'll be easy to get loose, but it's not terribly warm at the ballpark. In fact, the temperature is cooling off considerably as the night falls in New York.
Ball carrying extremely well. Usually does in hot weather. Not as hot as Dave Magadan is.
Magadan with another line drive off his bat, but reachable for Billy Hatcher. That's the way he's been hitting the ball lately. Line drives everywhere. Not a power hitter.
Well, I think that was a real big knock against Magadan. Number one, not great baseball instinct. Really not a position player. He will be playing first most of the time this year. But he is a great line drive hitter. But you look at a guy 6'3", a little bit over 200 pounds, maybe you would want a little bit more power. But you'll take a 367 average, and that's what he came in with.
Greg Jeffries hitting at 315 is the next one, switch hitter. Along with those numbers you see, he's a 316 swinger from the left side, and a small guy in contrast to Magadan, who muscles up and hits home runs. He's hit 10.
Well, Magadan gets more out in his front foot. I think the one thing that's always impressed me about Jeffries is the way he stays back. You know, he said, I will hit the ball to left field when I'm batting left-handed, but I want to drive it there because I don't want to be known as a slap hitter. A guy that uses all fields but does it with power.
Going the other way, possible extra bases. Charging is Hatcher around first, Jeffries to second. They've got a shot, and he is out by plenty.
Yeah, Eric Gregg with the call. Tell you what, bad base running, no chance at all. That'll end the first.
A scoreless first in New York.
Roger Craig, the hardest working running back in the NFL, for Power Burst. Staying in shape keeps Roger ahead of the competition. Fueling his body with Power Burst is what keeps him going. Power Burst is nutritionally designed to replace the vital nutrients your body loses during exercise. And it comes in 4 refreshing flavors.
After all this, only one sports drink satisfies my thirst.
Power up with the refreshing taste of Power Burst.
Everything on Wendy's Super Value menu is just 99 cents each. Sure beats a sign in a window.
And now that includes Wendy's All-American hot dog, just 99 cents. It's summer, which means it's time for hot dogs. And Wendy's has them. 100% beef with mustard, relish, and onion. Plus Biggie drinks, Biggie fries, and Frosties. The All-American hot dog on Wendy's 99-cent Super Value menu.
Diamond Shamrock, you're just around the corner store. When you run out, run it.
Here's the Sears Die-Hard starting lineup for the Reds. Hatcher, Larkin, and Davis have gone in order. Billy Hatcher in left, Barry Larkin at short, and center fielder Eric Davis all gone in the first inning. Here in the second, it'll be Chris Sable leading off at third base with Len Braggs to follow in right field and Hal Morris, the first baseman. Mariano Duncan at second base batting seventh. Joe Oliver, the catcher, followed by Rick Mailer. And Sabo back to live action, taking one upstairs for ball one. Sabo was to hit third tonight. Lou Piniella made a late start and put him in the cleanup spot. And why not? 16 home runs with more power than he's ever hit for at any level of professional baseball. Most homers he's ever had in the pros, 12 in the minors.
Exactly 16. You can see the numbers. Boy, what a year. And right now, this is the most valuable player on this ball club. If I point to anybody in the National League, Reds getting off to a great start, it would be Chris Sabo.
He drives one to left field. Mark Carrion, though, no problem in front of the warning track. One out, and that's 4 in a row for Bob Ojeda. He's given up a couple of home runs this year as we look at the dimensions of Shea. 338 down the lines, 371 in the alleys, 396 in the deep alleys, and then 410 to straightaway center field. And in the seats, the ballpark fairly full this evening as you look at it from the left field corner. The Mets are drawing big and making big news in the Big Apple. 10 straight wins and within a game of the Pirates, who tonight are at San Francisco later, throwing 10-2 Neil Heaton. the corner to Glenn Braggs.
I would imagine they're most likely sold out, but they're getting like they must have been watching some games in L.A. Late arriving, that's because of the traffic, but they stay to the end here.
In 69, 86, and 87, the Mets have won 11 straight. Most of those championship years, of course, so they're trying to tie a lofty team record here this evening. Braggs a .348 hitter since coming over. Couldn't catch up with the breaking ball. 2-2.
Yeah, there's the changeup again. Doesn't matter what the count is. If Bob Ojeda thinks he has a good one, he is going to throw it. And again, what makes a changeup good? A fast arm motion. You think it's something other than the fastball. You gear yourself, you see that quick arm, you jump out if you're a hitter, and then all of a sudden the ball hasn't arrived yet.
Bob Ojeda with 37 strikeouts on the year, 19 walks, including his 2 Ks in the first inning, and there's another one. 5 in a row, 3 of the last 4 on strikes.
And he is not a strikeout pitcher. If you were going to say, well, what kind of team does Bob Ojeda match up well against, it's a free swinging ball club. Cincinnati fits that description. They go up there hacking. And also as a veteran pitcher, you mentioned that he's 32. Mailer is 37 for the Reds. They are going to pitch in a hurry. They're not going to have their defensive players back on their heels.
And the Reds are one of the better defensive teams in the league, tied with the Phillies and Expos, behind the Giants for the number 2 spot. Al Morris has reached safely 9 times in his last 13 trips. Has been at the AAA level and the big club this year. Has only been up for 11 days. He was hitting .344 in Nashville after coming over from the other New York organization.
Good fastball hitter, good low ball hitter. If there would be any problem, it's that Bob Ojeda is going to face everybody in the lineup that is right-handed with the exception of Hal Morris. So you get locked in on that low and away corner, pitching from left-hander to right-hander. It's a little bit more difficult to make good pitches to a left-handed batter when he comes up there. It bothers everybody but John Tudor.
Not many are as precise as he is.
You know, the amazing thing about an Ojeda, there's Mariano Duncan, the second baseman for the Reds on deck, is that they will face 8 right-handed batters, and then they'll just either get their big curveball over when they have to or make pinpoint control type pitches on the outside corner. Not that easy.
Morris not even thinking about pulling the ball against Ojeda, has had a left field stroke several times up there. This one on a play off to that side.
Well, you don't see a whole lot of Bob Ojedas at AAA, and when you get 2 strikes on him, most hitters will tell you, you got to look for the ball. You stop guessing, you try to make contact, especially against a tough left-hander.
Another strikeout. This one a called 3rd strike. He's got 4 in 2 innings, and Bobby Ojeda's retired 6 in a row.
The promises found in a showroom catalog are only as good as the quality found in the car itself. That's why at Ford, we've continuously refined one of America's top-selling cars, Ford Tempo, to its highest quality level ever. It's quality you can feel at a price they can't touch. Ford Tempo. You don't have to be well-to-do to do it well.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Dutch Boy Satin Finish Paint. For the look that gets the looks year after year. You can see why it's worth more.
For millions of Americans, mowing the lawn can be a real chore. Fortunately, Honda's created the new hydrostatic transmission lawnmower. The first mower that lets you choose whatever speed you need smoothly, no matter what you're cutting around. Look into the new hydrostatic transmission lawnmowers at your Honda dealer. They let you mow without the stop and go.
If you can't get enough of your favorite toppings, Pizza Hut has the pizzas you'll love.
Do you love me?
The Meat Lovers Pizza. 6 mouth-watering meat toppings smothered between 2 luscious layers of cheese. And now the new Veggie Lovers Pizza with peppers, mushrooms, and tons of other great veggies. Now get a Meat Lovers or new Veggie Lovers for $9.99. Any 2 for just $4 more.
Do you love
Meat Lovers, Veggie Lovers. Now who do you love?
Pizza
It's been a very refreshing season lately for Mets fans here at Shea Stadium. They've won 25 and lost only 13 in their own ballpark. And later we go to the Dodgers Park. Dodger Stadium. De Leon and Valenzuela throw when the Cardinals play the Dodgers at 10:30 Eastern time this evening. Gary Thorne and Norm Hitchcock to call that one for you. And the Tower of Power leads off in the second inning. He makes this club go. Harold Strawberry.
Kevin McReynolds, who we're not going to see tonight, is a guy that when the numbers usually are up at the end of the year, somewhere around 22 to 28 home runs. But this is a guy, 39 home runs, can steal as many bases. Never been a high average hitter, but he can carry you literally for months. And that's what he's done since Bud Harrelson has taken over. The big difference between Bud Harrelson, Dave Johnson, Darryl Strawberry, hitting and not hitting. And we can go into many other reasons, and we will, but he shortened his stroke.
Look out here, 3-1 against a non-power pitcher. And there it goes, left center. 1-0 New York. The Mets continue their trend of scoring early in ball games, and more often than not, number 18 is right in the middle of it.
Certainly is. 17th home run on the year. Now it's 9 in the last 18 games. Well, you just don't want to go 3-1. You brought up a good point. You want to be ahead and been able to throw Strawberry balls. 3-1, you got to throw him a strike.
Well, Rick Mailer told me in the clubhouse tonight, Jim, that Strawberry's the one he fears the most in the lineup. And you get a funny feeling when you see Mailer go 3-1 on Strawberry that trouble's about to happen for Cincinnati. Howard Johnson has hit 11. Mailer has just given up his 4th of the year.
I have no doubts in my mind, Bob, that if there were 2 outs and we were in the second inning, they would have pitched around Strawberry. But leading off an inning, a guy that can not only hurt you with a home run, as we just saw, but also with a stolen base, Jansen coming up, you got to challenge him. You're going to lose those challenges, especially when a hitter's as hot as Strawberry.
Johnson hits one hard to the right side.
Now, Rick Mailer's bag is to get ahead, throw enough strikes so you can get the hitter to maybe swing at some balls. You'll see a lot of swings like we just saw. Hitters way out in front, either on the changeup or the slow curveball. Rick is not the type of pitcher that's going to shut you out.
1-2 to Johnson. Big looping breaking ball and chopped in front of the mound. No play. And it's plays like that that drive Mailer crazy because he had the pulled thigh muscle earlier this year. And after hurting it initially, he aggravated it on a chopper just like that at Wrigley Field off the bat of Ryne Sandberg. You're not going to see him throw out hitters on choppers like this with that injury.
Well, also the swinging bunt, you recoil if you're the pitcher, and then that's like if you told Howard Johnson, hey, can you just shovel it out there? Where do you want it to stop? He would have said just about there. Base hit. Nice hitting, Howard.
A guy hitting .231 will take a few of those. Mailer goes to the stretch for the first time tonight. Pretty good bat at the plate, and Mark Carrion. This guy's been a great part-time player for the Mets this year. And curveball, by the way, about as hard as the ball was hit, 58 miles per hour. Low and away to Carrion.
Well, yeah, what I like about Mark Carrion, I had a chance to see him play down in spring training about 3 years ago, and I said, who's that kid with the quick bat? My first World Series, 1966, his dad was a backup catcher for the Orioles, Emilio Carrion.
Rather high pitch out. Johnson, who's stolen 13, not going anywhere.
Well, that's just another dimension. Howard on the cover of the press guide. That tells you what kind of year he had last year. You can hit home runs. Last year he hit for a high average. You can steal. Only been caught 3 times. Carrion, a good fastball hitter. You got to think that that big slow curveball is not going to be thrown. If it is, Johnson can pick that pitch and pretty much waltz into second base.
Time asked and given by Jerry Crawford, the first base umpire, by Howard Johnson, who has stolen 13 out of 16 attempts. Hal Morris holding him. Mets have swiped 49 this year. Lou Piniella's team, of course, number 3 in the league with 96 steals. Hojo goes. The throw is in time, but safe. A great pickup by Duncan, but Johnson must have snuck in under the glove.
Yeah, great throw from Joe Oliver, too. I think, but it does not erase the good jump of Howard Johnson. Let's take another look. See if he was safe or out. Yep, good call by Eric Gregg. We saw Barry Larkin have to bring his glove up to catch the short hop, and you'll see Howard Johnson's hand just slip under there. This is 14 out of 17. Not too many power hitters can run like that. I'm not saying it's the best angle for Eric, but it looked like from the other angle he was safe.
A shot to right center. Over to get it, Eric Davis. Runners will be at first and third or at second. Now they've got Carry-On hung up, and nobody's covering first, and he goes back safely.
Bob, the question in my mind, did he know? Did Mike Covage at first base, the first base coach, say, hey, go as far as you can, nobody's at first? Because if he did, he's smarter than I think he is.
Pretty good base running and coaching under pressure.
Tries to get in with a fastball, just looped in. Howard Johnson a little bit hesitant. Kind of play that if you are trailing by a runner, everybody says, hey, how can you not score on that ball? But when you're already ahead, you call it conservative base running.
Mets are hitting line drives all over the place, fair or foul. That one off the bat of Mackey Sasser, the catcher. He's got his numbers up to a good level. But maybe the big story about Mets catchers is what's happening defensively. They're starting to throw out runners. Sasser gunned out Vince Coleman the other night for the first time ever. Coleman caught against the Mets. There's the score, 1 run on 4 hits, and New York appears to be about ready to make this a big second inning against Rick Mahler. Well, they started the season throwing out 14% of the runners, but now the catchers with cannons have been doing the job all year long. You won't find the Mets catchers up among that group for a while because of their bad start.
Well, yeah, 13.5% earlier in the year. Sasser lately has been thrown out almost 40%.
Another line drive to left field. Hatcher will catch it. Johnson tags, and New York leads 2-0.
Just building offensive momentum. If you're Mackey Sasser, you want to hit, that's just a, if nobody's on, Bob, that's just a fly. That's a fly ball out. When you get the offensive machine rolling, you saw the numbers earlier, they're averaging over 7 runs a game the last couple of weeks. You just build. You just know you don't have to do it by yourself. All you have to do is contribute. And that's what they've been doing. This guy especially, timely base hits.
Elster, just an awful April and May, but he's warming things up. Numbers still only reading in the low teens as far as the 200s are concerned, 214, but he's 6 for his last 9 over 3 ball games. And Jim, you couple all of this offense you've been talking about with the Mets fulfilling their potential as a pitching staff. This is a ball club that might have the race locked up in a month if these bats keep staying loud like they are.
Well, you and I had a chance to do the Pittsburgh game a couple of weeks ago, and that's the team I think that if they get healthy can stay with the Mets. But the Mets, with their starting pitching, if they can continue this torrid hitting, I don't know if they're going to run away from people, but they're going to play and force the other teams in the division to play well over their heads. You know, the luxury, if you're a pitcher for the Mets now, you know you're going to get runs. A month ago, that was some question.
A carry on at first with 1 out, 2 runs in. 1-1 delivery is on the corner. Oliver snapping one down to Morris, but Carry-On was right on the bag.
The one thing that you could always do against Mets pitching, maybe you'd have trouble hitting off them from a home run or a batting average, but you could run on them. It won't stop Cincinnati, but by scoring a lot of runs, you do take some of the offensive threats of some of the ball clubs in the National League away. Less apt to run when they're behind in ball games.
Naylor missing, and the count evens at 2-2.
So many angles to look at this game. If you look at the on-deck hitter, Bob Ojeda, if you're Lou Piniella, this is very painful. Naylor, not a strikeout pitcher. You want him to get some runs early so he can hang on.
All-speed delivery, hit up the middle. They'll have to hurry for 2. Quick pivot by Larkin. Got him. Nice stretch by Hal Morris at first base on the 4-6-3. But the Mets get 2 with Strawberry's homer getting it started. And it's 2-0 Mets after 2.
And now the great Nolan Ryan demonstrates his pitching technique.
The big metal shaver. It's great.
How about that? And you know, Jim, it's pitches like that that'll get him into the Hall of Fame.
Boy, you said it, Mel.
Frank, I send you for a Bud Light, and you bring back...
Bud Light won't fill you up, never lets you down.
So, there are no men here, there's an unlimited supply of Bud Light, and we can never leave.
Correct.
Everything else is just a light.
We can live with that.
Yeah.
I use pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Von Hayes, right field, Philadelphia. Cal Ripken, shortstop, Baltimore. Tim Jackson, attorney, Los Angeles. Roberto Leon, teacher, Oakland.
Ever since Major League Baseball introduced the authentic diamond collection of clothing and equipment identical to the pros, it's gotten a lot harder to tell the players from the fans. The authentic diamond collection, a part of baseball you can call your own.
The preceding was furnished by Major League Baseball.
In Cleveland, the Indians hosting the Angels, and it's the Indians who strike first. Jim Abbott to Candy Maldonado in the second. Luis Polonia goes back on the ball, won't catch up to it. Maldonado has 13 home runs already this year, only 21 in the last 2. Back to Bob and Jim.
All right, that Cleveland ball club still hanging around in the American League East, 7.5 back of the Red Sox, who really took care of the Blue Jays this week. And California 9.5 back in the West. Here in the National League, it's a chopper over the mound by Mariano Duncan, charged and thrown out by Kevin Elster. 7 straight retired by Bob Ojeda. Dana DeMuth, along with Jerry Crawford, Eric Gregg, and Doug Harvey, your umpiring crew. Harvey, by the way, approaching his 4th decade of umpiring in the National League.
Boy, you got to be a patient man. And Eric Gregg, just out of some rehab, has always had a weight problem. I ran into him, not literally, and he said, "Good for you. Did you get my book?" I said, "What's the name of it, Eric?" And he said, "Life at the Plate." He said, "There's a double meaning." And he said, "You can take it literally. Home plate with a fork or whatever." But what a nice man. We wish him well. Constant battle with his weight.
And there's the first Cincinnati base hit. A shot to left field from Joe Oliver. So the number 8 man gets something going for the Reds with Rick Mailer coming up. Oliver came in hitting .234.
About 3 weeks ago, I had a chance to talk to Bob Ojeda, and I said, "Do you like the American League better when you pitch with the Red Sox, or do you like the National League?" He said, "Oh, I love that the pitcher gets the bat." But today I said, "You're hitting 100." He said, "No, I love it that the other pitcher, the opponent, gets the bat." And that is the difference. And one of the major difference, smaller ballparks in the American League. You get the pitcher to come up in the National League. We did a game last week in Montreal, and it seemed like every time the opposing pitcher got in problems, up would come the pitcher, at least early in the ballgame.
Mailer, a 184 career hitter. And Ojeda misses, evening the count at a ball and a strike. 5th time this year the ball clubs meet. They've split the first 4. Sam Perlazzo, former Met coach, over at third base, bouncing Lou Piniella signals around the infield with a man on and one out. Mets have won, though, 2 of the 3 played in this ballpark. And he goes to behind in the count to the opposing pitcher.
Yeah, this is a better matchup. You know, there's some ball clubs play better on turf. Just off the cuff, you would say Cincinnati Reds, with their outstanding speed, would rather face them on grass. Gives you more confidence if you're a pitcher.
To the left side, should be a couple. Jeffries the pivot, and it goes 5-4-3. The Reds are gone in the third, and with a 2-0 lead, Bob Ojeda has faced a minimum 9 hitters.
Before you hit the road, hit the one tire store that installs more kinds of tires on more cars than anyone else. Sears. And right now, Sears SuperGuard 40 all-season steel-belted radials with a 40,000-mile warranty are as low as $21.88. Installed in just 60 minutes on most cars. Check your Sears store for convenient 7-day-a-week service. For new tires, stop at Sears and stop with confidence.
Barbasol Gel gives you a super close shave like the other gel, but at a great Barbasol price.
Your Barbasol Gel, son. Your change, son.
Barbasol Gel. No wonder it appeals to the rich. Staying ahead of the competition means staying ahead of the times.
Ford trucks, the best never ran.
And with ideas like an exclusive push-button four-wheel drive system and the most advanced electronic automatic transmission, Ford trucks aren't just leading Chevy, they're pulling away.
Ford trucks, the best never ran.
The best-built, best-selling American trucks are built Ford tough.
You know, a lot of guys would never stay home and babysit. And me? No problem. There's nothing to it. Besides, I like being in charge. I'm feeding him? Easy. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now we're talking the works. Like today, I got a bucket of original recipe chicken and all the fixings. I love this stuff. Hey, they're happy. I'm happy. Kentucky Fried Chicken. I know what I'm doing.
Oh, dude. Well, even the Simpsons take time out to watch baseball on ESPN here in New York. Third inning coming up. New York on top of Cincinnati 2-0, and it continues on Sunday night. John Miller and Joe Morgan will go indoors with you at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Twins and the Orioles to battle, East against West. And Jim, the last time the Orioles played in Minnesota, it was a different story. Minnesota was one of the best teams in baseball at that point, just a month ago.
Oh, yeah, they had a terrific May, set an all-time record for the Twins. They have crashed. They're not quite burning yet, but and the Orioles playing very poorly. I mean, a rarity yesterday, Mickey Tettleton. Not being thrown out, but being taken out of the ballgame in the ninth inning by manager Frank Robinson because he didn't want him to get thrown out after being called out on a questionable pitch.
Rick Mailer's been hit pretty well by the Mets so far. He faces his counterpart, Bob Ojeda, in the third. There's the 2 for 20 Jim alluded to. A career 123 hitter. Little line drive out to Billy Hatcher.
Yeah, but you said it so well. Been hit hard and another line drive. Does not bode well. Mailer last year 9-13, a little bit under 4 runs a game. They only got 12 runs in the 13 games that he pitched in. But how well did he pitch in those games? That's one of the misleading numbers. You know, a lack of support. But here's a guy that unfortunately had to play for Atlanta in a launching pad. So his lifetime record, which is not a good one, is not really of consequence, but a guy that will keep you and give you some innings, keep you in the ball game.
Back to the top of the order for Keith Miller, and a breaking ball missed. Miller pulling the ball his first time, grounded out to the shortstop. Yeah, note on that Mailer 89 season, he had the most runs yielded in the National League for the 3rd time in the last 4 years, and had one of the highest hits per 9-inning ratios in the league.
Well, he is a control pitcher, so that might always be a little bit higher because he would rather have you swing the bat than walk you. But I think in 220-some innings last year, 240 hits. So you better be on your toes if you're playing defense behind him.
And Keith Miller none too happy lately. Boston and Carrion have been platooning in center field. Boston a little shaken up. And not in there tonight.
Jose Rio in our picture. He has been disabled. He's had trouble with his right shoulder the entire year. Saw him the first game we did this year down in Atlanta. Coming out of spring training, abbreviated spring training, so he will go on the disabled list and maybe get that shoulder well.
And a one-out walk to Miller. Speaking of the disabled list, we mentioned earlier that Rick Mailer had been on the DL. Another Reds pitcher profited from a visit to the disabled list when Danny Jackson came up injured. They decided to rest him for a couple of weeks and put him on the disabled list, and he came back okay, as did Mailer. But how well do pitchers fare the way this guy is swinging? Magadan, yeah, fly out, but it was a line drive right at Billy Hatcher in left field.
Yeah, you walk the guy that's hitting 274 to get to the guy that's hitting almost 370. Not a good idea.
Unless he hits it on the ground at somebody, because Magadan does not run well.
Well, also Magadan complaining that he didn't get to play that much, and Bud Harrelson, the manager of the Mets, will tell you, hey, that's fine. I love that. And I want guys that's sitting on the bench. I want them to want to be playing. But he said, I learned in Philadelphia when I was no longer a regular shortstop. Sit on the bench, keep your mouth shut, and do the job when you get a chance, and that's what Dave Magadan has done.
Is it any surprise 3 of the top 5 hitters in the league belong to the same ball club? Mets have gained basically 15 games against the 500 mark in the last 3 weeks. Remember, they were 4 under, and now they're 11 over, a 15-game difference.
Well, when you win 20 games in a month, and that's what they've done in June, that's going to happen.
That's what Minnesota did in May, but look what happened to them in June. But Dave Magadan being upset goes back to spring training. He says he was told by the Mets, you're the everyday first baseman. A day or two later, Mike Marshall was picked up, and Magadan said he really got mad in spring training when Marshall showed up and didn't even have an outfielder's mitt. All he had was a first baseman's mitt, and that told Magadan exactly where he stood at that time. So he felt the ball club told him one thing and showed him another. Up and away, 3-0.
Well, that's a basic philosophy difference between Bud Harrelson and Dave Johnson. Dave Johnson played for Earl Weaver, not believed in station to station, but was content with station to station baseball, a lot of home runs. Bud Harrelson, being an overachiever, a scrappy shortstop, never hit 43 home runs like Dave Johnson, said, hey, let's make things happen. Magadan, not, as you said, a very fast runner, but has always been a solid line drive hitter.
Darryl Strawberry, Buddy Harrelson alongside.
Doc Ellis in the back of the picture. He is Doc Edwards tonight.
With the runner going, fouled off to the left side.
Oh, did I call him Doc Ellis? Well, no, we're talking Doc Edwards, last year the Cleveland manager. But he's really done an outstanding job with some of the catchers. Mentioned the fact that Sasser not only hitting well but throwing well. Yeah, Miller came in for defense last night. 2 errors in a matter of about 2.5 innings.
Mets escape though with a 1-run win over the Reds. John Franco doing the honors against his ex-teammates. Boy, there are some colorful bullpen performers in this ballpark tonight. Between him and the Nasty Boys. Runner going, fouled off to the left. Magadan working on a full count. As returning is Keith Miller.
I think I'm going to check that. They originally gave him 2 errors. He threw a ball into the dugout on a double play ball and then charged the ball in the 9th inning, which they originally gave an error, and I believe they may have changed it because it was a pretty tough play. But you're right about Magadan. You know, he thought he would be the everyday first baseman once Keith Hernandez left New York, and that has, at least that initially was not the case.
Runner goes again, pitches up and away, and it's ball 4. A rather nondescript sign for ball 4 by Jerry Crawford, so everybody on the infield was keyed in on the play at second base, which was meaningless. Runners at first and second, 1 out.
I imagine that Joe Oliver didn't know either, because otherwise he would not have risked the throw. But when you are hitting well, and Dave Magadan is, you take those kind of pitches. The ball looks bigger. You have more confidence. You can hold up on a questionable pitch.
Greg Jeffries with an RBI opportunity as the Mets try to add to their lead here in the third inning.
And here comes Stan Williams, the pitching coach. He has sensed exactly what I think I've sensed, that Rick Mailer cannot make the pitches he wants to. You'll see when Mailer delivers the ball, he kind of hangs his head because he is not getting the ball on the corners. He cannot be successful if he doesn't do that.
So as they huddle on the mound, let's huddle with John Saunders back at our Baseball Tonight studio.
The Rangers and the Red Sox, Tom Brunansky against Charlie Huff, loops this one down the right field line. It bounces in there fair, then goes towards the fans. A fan reaches over, appears to touch it. Mike Greenwell holds up thinking it's a ground rule double, but they rule fan interference. He is sent home. Bobby Valentine argued and was ejected. Back to Bob and Jim.
Well, the crazy angles of Fenway come into play tonight.
Fan interference, a umpire's decision. That'll get you tossed sometimes if you're the manager.
There's a shot to the left side. Sabo knocks it down to second for one. No chance at first. And that's the second out of the inning.
Boy, what a rocket. That ball was scorched.
And the problem for the Reds in not turning two, the ovation you hear. It's the man coming to the plate. But a very good play by Sabo at the hot corner.
2 times in a row. That ball rifled to left field by Jeffries. Sabo, you got to give him a lot of guts even to get in front of it. Duncan, former shortstop, thinks he may have a chance. Jeffries just runs too well. It sets it up for Strawberry.
A low strike for Mailer. Strawberry took one deep to left center his first time for home run number 17, RBI number 46. Off-speed pitch, and he was way out ahead of it. To get ahead, to be successful, Jim, Rick Mailer has to get ahead of hitters because then he can use his breaking ball. His formula is, I throw the curveball when it's 0-2. I don't think he's been ahead 0-2 until now.
And I'm sure Stan Williams went out there and said, hey, Rick, you're a veteran at 37. You know what to do. Let's start to try to do it. And maybe that means something in your mechanics. Maybe that means a little bit more concentration early in the count.
Another big off-speed pitch. This one floats outside, 1-2. That one registering like a game low 55 miles per hour. You can't even get a ticket for that. 1-2 to Strawberry with 2 on, 2 out.
Yeah, see, they don't know what to throw him, and that's a constant dilemma for a pitcher that doesn't really, what is not a stuffed pitcher versus a guy that is just torrid. I mean, about as hot as you can get. There's the changeup. And the reason that this is happening is because Rick Mailer knows one mistake, it's 5-0, or maybe 4-0. He's out of the ball game, and maybe physically and emotionally the Reds are out of the game.
Keith Miller at third. Jeffries at first with 2 down. 2-2 pitch. Popped him up left side. Sabo in foul territory. And Rick Mailer gets out of a potential big jam in the third. Mets leave 2, and after 3 innings of play, New York leads it 2-0.
There's a cowboy in everybody, and going to Denim and Diamonds brings it out. Denim and Diamonds is where the fun is, all night long, every day of the week, with nightly buffet and drink specials. Thursday is any coin night, where any coin in your pocket buys a bar drink, draft beer, or wine. And Fridays are 5-cent drink nights. And let's not forget Saturday. That's ladies' night at Denim and Diamonds, San Antonio's favorite country dance nightclub. The most fun you could have with your boots on.
Attention, Paragon Cable subscribers only. On Saturday, June 30th, KRRT Fox 35 is moving to Cable Channel 7 on Paragon Cable. This change will not affect viewers that don't have cable, nor will it affect viewers on other cable systems. So remember, if you're a Paragon Cable subscriber, watch KRRT Fox 35 on Paragon Cable Channel 7, starting Saturday, June 30th. And if you're a non-cable viewer, keep watching us on UHF Channel 35.
Benson Imports asks what the customer wants.
I want to choose from several makes of imports without going all over town.
At Benson Imports, our Hondas, Mazdas, and Isuzus are just footsteps apart.
I want the best deal on my new car.
Benson Imports has the prices and the financing plan, so you can get the car you want at a price you can afford.
I want to trust the dealership and know that I get good service.
Benson Imports has a top-rated service department and a reputation for integrity. You've told us what you want, and we've got it. Benson Imports, the big one on San Pedro.
ESPN Baseball Tonight, brought to you by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. See them all at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer. By Twice Fister, the fabulous faucet with a funny name. By Extra Hard Red Devil Oil Enamel for the finish of a lifetime. And by Labatt's Blue, the crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer. Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
Into the twilight at Shea Stadium, the fourth inning gets underway with Jim Palmer, Bob Carpenter, and the Mets on top. In runs, 2-0. They've out-hit the Reds 4-1 as Billy Hatcher leads off for Cincinnati. Up the middle. Hit number 2 for the Reds, and now 2 of their last 3 have reached successfully. And what a story this guy's been.
Billy Hatcher, if you ask Lou Piniella what he does with his team, speed, depth, and versatility. A lot of things.
And he was the man who kept this ball club in many respects going during the injury to Eric Davis. The Reds did not hit for any power during that time. It was all speed and defense. Barry Larkin faces Bob Ojeda.
Well, you're looking at speed and defense right here. Great average coming in, 324 starting tonight. Was hitting third. It kind of flip-flopped in some ways. Sabo led off early in the year. They said, hey, here's a guy that can hit home runs, also hit for an average. Maybe let's occasionally, against a lefter, lead off with Hatcher. And against a righty, maybe Larkin will lead off. A lot of things you can do with this lineup when you have a speedy ball club.
68 steals between the top 4 hitters in the lineup. Hatcher, Larkin, Davis, and Sabo. See by that graphic, he's been very consistent, just not susceptible to the slump. The Reds lead the league in hitting at 275 as a club. Mets are the #1 home run hitting club with 87. Joe Oliver icing the outside of his right eye. And now Ojeda falls behind Larkin 2-0, and he's flirting with trouble, considering who's up next.
Certainly is. Joe Oliver and Ken Griffey.
Senior.
I keep wanting to throw the junior in there.
Well, he would be flattered because he says right now that I was never the player that my young son already is. And there's his stuff.
I don't want to argue with him, but he was, maybe he did not have the power. There's Eric Davis. Hot as he is, he can hardly wait to get up there. But Ken Griffey, senior, what outstanding player, just didn't have as long a swing. A little bit better base runner, better average hitter. Of course, his son is very young.
2-1. Larkin, of course, has been bothered by bad ankles all year long. Wore some ankle braces coming out of spring training. And on a night at Shea Stadium when the wind is not a factor, he has the count in his favor with a runner at first and nobody out. There goes the runner. Fouled off hard to the right side. That'll make it 2-2.
Well, that's why he's such an outstanding hitter. First of all, when you start a runner, if you're Lou Piniella, you're looking maybe to create a hole. 2-1, you're most likely going to get something straight, either a fastball or a changeup. So Lou has a lot of possibilities. If you're Bob Ojeda, that means that you're going to have to concentrate and throw a strike. But Larkin is just very, very content hitting the ball where it's pitched. That's why you don't see a lot of home runs, only 2 on the season.
There's the high tops that he wears instead of the ankle braces. Into the hole, over to get it, Elster. Getting his man, Hatcher at second base, 6-4 on the fielder's choice. And with one on, one out, let's get it back to our Baseball Tonight studio. Here's John Saunders.
At Skydome in Toronto, the A's and the Jays. Third inning, John Cerruti with the low pitch to Dave Henderson. Picks it up and takes it out over top of Junior Felix. The 2-run home run. Ricky Henderson was aboard. Let's get it back to Bob and Jim. It's 2-0, the A's.
And that Toronto ball club smarting from a sweep at Boston that dropped them 3.5 games behind the Red Sox in the AL East.
Yeah, 5 in the loss column. Yeah, they said they wanted to get home. I mean, that is a pretty good pitch that Henderson just hit over the right center field fence. And you've done games up there. I have this year. That is a launching pad. Ball really flying in Toronto.
In fact, many of the Blue Jays have said the last couple of weeks, especially after they went 9-1 on a road trip, that they were feeling a lot better about themselves on the road than they were at home because they hit a lot of homers there, but they're really susceptible to the long ball by other clubs, especially a team like Oakland. 1-0 delivery, and Davis takes it low and away, ball 2. Sam Perlazo at third. Tony Perez coaches over on the other side for the Reds. Ojeda just missing. Thought he had a strike. Didn't get it from Jerry Crawford.
Yeah, he needs that strike. Bob Ojeda 2-0. You got to get that pitch to make it easier for you. Take a look. He knows he makes a good pitch. Doesn't get it.
Now he gets it to 3-1. Up the road in Hartford, Lee Trevino leading that Senior Open. Highlights coming up later on SportsCenter this evening and at 10:30 Eastern Time. Cardinals and Dodgers battle. It's De Leon and Valenzuela tonight. With the runner going, Davis had a good rip and fouled it back. Count goes full, and the way Lou Piniella has been playing things this year with 96 steals already, you've got to figure those runners will be moving anytime it's 3-2.
Yeah, they're not going to steal on Ojeda. If you're Bud Harrelson, you love to have a left-hander like Ojeda who holds runners on well. But they will try to put runners in motion to maybe get the defense in motion also.
Runner moving. Strikeout. Throw to second into center field. And over to third base goes Larkin with a steal and an error on Sasser. Sasser's 7th error of the year, and the runner all the way to third with 2 down.
5th strikeout for Ojeda. We told you that Sasser's been throwing a lot better, but he tries to rush this one. Would have been a lot closer than maybe it indicated if Elster's able to come up with it, but he doesn't. Larkin around second all the way to third. Really will not play much of a pivotal part as far as what Ojeda's going to throw. He has not thrown a lot of big curveballs to right-handers, but what it does do, it makes it a little bit more difficult for the defense.
Here's Sabo. Fly to left his first time up. Opportunity for him to drive home number 43. Reds could use the 2-out hit and let the Mets know that they're not going to stay off the scoreboard into the late innings here.
You know, what's going to happen, a ball in the hole, similar to what Larkin hit, and then you got the force at second, no longer will be a force. It's a little more difficult for the defense. You know that with a runner on third versus second, you got to make a play. Not only do you have to make it, you also have to make an accurate throw if you're an infielder.
Yeah, ask Matt Williams the other night in Cincinnati. A throw off the bag, extra innings, and the Reds beat the Giants on just such a play. High chopper. Elster has to wait for it. Plenty of time, though, and the Reds are gone in the fourth. They leave a runner. First one they've stranded tonight, and after 3.5, the Mets lead 2-0.
Your Mitsubishi Motors dealer is bursting with ways to help save you money on all our award-winning cars and trucks. During our inventive incentive deal days, savings keep getting higher and higher with cash rebates up to $2,000. Or take advantage of factory-to-dealer incentives and special value packages on your favorite options. We're inventing incentives all over the place. So come in now while the savings are in the air. See for yourself just how high we'll go.
You bet we're finicky. At Price Pfister, when we make a faucet, we make it fit for a king. So we start with a foundation of solid brass inside, which makes it so durable, it's flat out terrific. Then we finish it to a fairly well outside and price it to please the frugal in everyone. Price Pfister, the fabulous faucet with a funny name.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
Now how am I gonna get there? It'll be great to see the guys again. I wonder if they'll all show. I just gotta get there.
I'm trying to make my way back to the Brackendale River.
Friends deserve the best.
This is great. They all showed up.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
What took you so long? I had a little car trouble.
Between friends, it's true blue, Labatt's Blue.
Charles Nagy of the Cleveland Indians making his major league start, the first here. Third inning against Lance Parrish through the hole. Luis Polonia comes in to score to give the Angels a 2-1 lead. But the Indians have just tied it. It's now 2-2 in the third. Let's go back to Bob and Jim.
A couple of ball clubs battling for survival in the American League, but that's not the story here, John. Reds in first place in the West. Mets about to take over first in the East, and they win and the Pirates lose tonight. And that's a fair ball down the line from Howard Johnson. A ground rule double to lead off the fourth inning. And he's 2 for 2. They stop Strawberry to end the third, and Johnson gets an extra base hit to lead off the fourth.
Yeah, no respite from this lineup. Johnson troubled by a sore left shoulder earlier. Boy, right on the chalk. Here at Wimbledon, you win the point on that one. Hojo at second. Nobody out.
And Dana DeMuth had a lot of help from a lot of umpires down the first baseline. There's Mark Carrion, and he takes a fastball high and tight. So the Mets have 5 hits in the game. That's the hit they needed last inning when they got 2 walks but could not hit safely.
Gary on a pull hitter. It'll be interesting if he tries to take a shot to try to get Johnson to either home or third base with less than 2 outs.
Well, he did it 2 innings ago, Jim. After Johnson singled and stole second, he hit it the right center field.
Yeah, but that was a check swing. I mean, on purpose. I want something on purpose. I want to see if he can adapt his swing and go the other way.
He's got the count to work with here, and he goes that way. Fielded by Morris over to third with 1 out, Howard Johnson. We got a lot for you on the 4th of July. The Red Sox and Twins in the early game. Some of you will see the Mariners and the Indians. That's at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And later on, the Yankees at Kansas City against the Royals. Some of you will see the Tigers and the White Sox at 8 p.m. Eastern on Independence Day.
Yeah, our Mark Quinzel will be there on the 4th.
New York City and
I think you can still
Royals battling.
Yeah, you can buy fireworks probably in Missouri still. We'll have a great time.
Mackey Sasser with the infield in. And there's a long one to right field. Goodbye.
Does not happen often. Number 2 on the year. 88-1, 89-1, and in 1990, there it is, the second home run for Mackey Sasser.
Number 89 for the league leading Mets in that department. They've used the long ball tonight to score 3 of their 4. Bob Ojeda now has a big lead to work with as Kevin Elster bats. And you look at the scorecard tonight, the number 7 hole in the Mets lineup, 3 runs batted in. That's the way it's gone for this club, up and down the 9. Everybody contributing.
Well, and back to the runner at third because of what Carrion did. Is it easier to hit a fly ball, which eventually turns into a home run, or have to drive in the guy from second? Just a more relaxed environment, a more relaxed state when you go up to the plate, when you know that you're not going to be the only guy to drive in runs.
Kevin McReynolds has a good number of those homers. He's not in the lineup tonight. Off the end of the bat, a little line drive caught by the pitcher, 2 down.
You know, that's the biggest dilemma when you catch a line drive back to you, especially if it's really a hard line drive, which that wasn't. Do you throw the ball around the infield, especially after you've given up 2 runs? You don't know, is that what I'm supposed to do, or am I just supposed to wind up and let's get to the bench?
Well, considering the pitcher was next, maybe he just didn't want to throw it around and get right back to work.
Well, he did throw it around, though. I never knew what to do all those years.
Bob Ojeda hit a looping liner his first time that was caught by the left fielder Billy Hatcher.
What do you mean looping? It was a rocket. It was a singeing line drive.
Yeah, but it was his best shot and only went about 250 feet.
I know that.
That's a looping line drive.
Well, let's pretend we're doing radio and they couldn't have seen it.
Did a nice job of going the other way, though.
Oh, of course.
0-2 pitch here. And the fastball punches him out. Rick Mailer with his first strikeout of the night, but he's touched for 2 on Sasser's homer, and the Mets lead by 4.
There's no dashboard light to warn you. No dipstick to check. Yet when warned, they could cause your car to lose control and braking. Don't find out your shocks and struts are worn by accident. Get your shocks and struts inspected at your Monroe retailer soon. Monroe, your safety could depend on it.
Very good hustle, Tom. Way to go into the stands, babe.
Hey, you really killed yourself out there today, kid. You don't have to be a Major League ball player to need Major League pain relief. Ben Gay Sports Balm. Real relief for sore muscles.
Most people don't think about high efficiency until it's too late. But if your home doesn't have an efficient Heil air conditioning system, you could be throwing money right out the window. A Heil air conditioner keeps you cool without burning a hole in your pocket. Heil Home Cooling Systems, the energy savers.
At Comiskey Park in Chicago, the White Sox with a share of the lead in the American League West, hosting the Yankees. Chuck Carey to Ron Kittle. Watch Mel Hall in left field for the Yankees. He doesn't even bother. It's way back there in the upper deck. 1-0. Let's get back to Bob and Jim.
Those White Sox are for real. Percentage points up on the Athletics as the teams took the field tonight. Top of the 5th inning here in New York. Glenn Braggs leads off for the Reds. They're on the short end of a 4-0 score to Bob Ojeda. Braggs, Morris, and Duncan, numbers 5, 6, and 7 for the Reds in the 5th inning. And a fastball makes it 0-2. Pretty good pickup, this guy. 11 starts since coming over from the American League. He's hit safely in all 11.
Leg got a base hit last night in a pinch hit roll.
This an easy pop-up right side, but is there room for Magadan? Plenty. 1 out.
Well, the Brewers hoping that Braggs would do in the major leagues what he did in the minor leagues, which is have outstanding numbers. Tony Perez, the batting instructor, trying to maybe shorten the swing a little bit. And allow Braggs, who has good instincts in the outfield, to be an everyday player. But you wonder, O'Neill having such an outstanding year, is that going to detract from what he's been able to do?
Last time Bob Ojeda threw against the Reds, O'Neill was in the lineup at Riverfront Stadium against the left-hander.
Well, O'Neill with 42 RBIs. But if you talk to him, he wants to play every day.
And Lou Piniella is another skipper that likes that attitude because as a player, he and Buddy Harrelson shared a lot of the same traits in terms of being fiery and aggressive. And I think you said it good today, Jim. Buddy Harrelson's the kind of guy who used to go home after a ball game and lie awake in bed thinking about how he was going to beat you the next day.
And that's what he's trying to get his Mets to do.
Nothing fancy about the way they're beating people, though. Home runs and base hits. Little grounder right side. Jeffries to Magadan. 2 easy outs for Bob Ojeda.
Well, one thing Ojeda's going to do is he's going to challenge you. 5 strikeouts more than he normally has in a ball game, but no walks. 1988 in September, hit the end of his pitching finger with a hedge trimmer. A lot of people thought his career was over. He has come back to pitch and pitch well. I think the big thing about Ojeda that I was concerned about is here's a guy that's a control pitcher, and if you lose any feeling at all, will you be able to spot the ball where you want to? He has been tonight.
Came overhand that time and dropped one down over the plate. Over but low. Duncan took it. A ball and a strike. Mariano Duncan pulled the ball his first time up, grounded out to the shortstop. Duncan had a rib cage injury earlier. He was hitting .382 when injured and really struggled when he came back off the DL, but that's how he was swinging earlier. Extra bases to left center. Carry-on chases it to the wall. A 2-out double for Mariano Duncan.
Came up with the Dodgers as a shortstop. Played a lot of second base, and I talked to Tony Perez. Why was he hitting .382? He said just dropping his hands. Well, he had this big bat wrap, got it way behind his head, and Tony said it just didn't work. Made his swing too long. Because if you're around Tony Perez, boy, what a marvelous hitter he was. Playana warming up at the bullpen for the Reds.
He's the other right-hander besides Dibble out there. They have Tim Burgess from the left side along with Charlton and Myers. You don't hear a whole lot about those middle guys, though. Burgess and Leana.
Yeah, he's the guy that doesn't throw 100 miles per hour. It's a good way to phrase it.
Oliver singled to left center his initial time up. He's looking for the 2-out hit. Got that right eye bandaged that he had iced before. And Bob Ojeda had him way behind that one. 0-2.
Well, you see about 5 changeups the first time up, even though Oliver did single to left field. Then you say to yourself, well, you know, I'm going to sit on that pitch. That's why you swing when the ball's already in the glove. He sets you up for that pitch.
Naylor scheduled to hit next, but maybe not if Oliver extends the inning.
See, there's that little 2-seam fastball. You throw your fingers on the, put them right on the seams, and the ball just runs away. You could see it not only run away, but sink. And then he'll throw one across the seams, a little more pressure on the middle finger. That ball will, instead of running away from you if you're a right-handed hitter, come right in on you.
1-2. And fouled off to the right side.
And then when he throws a changeup, you almost fall on your face. You know, you're just out on that front foot, you're looking away, and all of a sudden the ball looks so much quicker when you're looking to the outside corner and he zips it inside.
A ball and 2 strikes. And Ojeda running one away for the right-hander and just missing outside.
Lou Piniella, knowing that if they get a base hit, his team may think that maybe Ojeda's just a little bit more vulnerable.
And he throws one by Oliver. Strikeout number 6. The Reds strand their second runner, and halfway through the game, the Mets on top, 4-0.
Maybe the reason more people switch to Glidden than any other paint in the last 5 years is because it lasts year after year, no matter what the weather. Glidden, a better way to paint.
If you can't get enough of your favorite toppings, Pizza Hut has the pizzas you'll love.
Do you love me?
the Meat Lovers Pizza. 6 mouth-watering meat toppings smothered between 2 luscious layers of cheese. And now the new Veggie Lovers Pizza with peppers, mushrooms, and tons of other great veggies. Now get a Meat Lovers or new Veggie Lovers for $9.99. Any 2 for just $4 more. Meat Lovers, Veggie Lovers. Now who do you love?
Making it great.
Life's full of simple pleasures, like the comfort of Levi's jeans, or a hedge forgotten.
Nothing's rougher on a man's face than shaving. That's why there's Skin Bracer. It's more than an aftershave. It soothes, cools, tightens pores, so it's good for your skin.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By Men.
Introducing new extra-strength Rolaids, 250 milligrams stronger than Tums EX, 1,000 milligrams of fast relief. This settles it, once and for all.
Olympic Stadium in Montreal, home of the Expos, as they host the Atlanta Braves. Tom Glavine with a 1-0 lead in the 4th, but leaves this one up high, and Tim Wallach pokes it out to right field. His 12th home run of the year, along with 48 runs batted in. It's tied at 1 in the 4th. Back to you.
All right, John, and not to be forgotten are those Expos, a half game behind the Mets in the National League East, only a game and a half back of the Pirates as the game got underway tonight. Rick Mahler back out to the hill for his 5th inning of work. He's given up 4 runs on 6 hits, and even some of the outs have been pretty loud here tonight.
Yes, no problem hearing them, even with the planes going overhead.
Top of the, or rather bottom of the 5th, top of the order for the Mets, and Keith Miller. A walk his last time.
The Mets like Keith Miller because of his aggressive attitude. And really is yet to prove that he can play in the big league on an everyday basis. That's why you're not seeing him every day. You know, a guy that is very versatile. Put him in and penciled him in as their starting center fielder. That did not work. He hurt his hamstring, and then they went to Darryl Boston. Pretty good trade. Boston out with at least temporarily disabled, not disabled, but on the bench with a hamstring problem. He's played well since coming over from the White Sox.
And he's only 27 years old. Seems like he's been around forever. But Jim, as we were talking earlier tonight, the Mets situation a lot more settled now than it is, not just because the bats have come alive, but everybody is back playing their normal defensive positions now. Well hit to right field, but catchable for Braggs. 1 out.
Yeah, I think the problem with the Mets early was that Davey Johnson, I mean, an outstanding managerial job. The bottom numbers for Davey was .595. That's in 6+ wins. He won 595 games, only lost 417. But because of the uncertainty whether he would be here all year, I think people were looking over their shoulders. There is not one Met, and you're looking at most of them right here, that knows why Davey Johnson got fired. That's because they didn't perform. And all of a sudden, Strawberry started hitting. McReynolds got hot. Magadan got hot. Jeffries, a torch under him. And they started playing better. Why? I mean, that's what managing's all about. How do you get a guy to play? How do you motivate a guy? Bud Harrelson's been able to do it.
He's motivated them, and maybe focused is the biggest factor, as you said. A lot of extracurricular activities have been shoved aside, and baseball is the primary source of conversation in the Mets clubhouse now. Magadan grounds out to Morris, on to the pitcher, 2 down.
Yeah, it's an interesting article right after Davey Johnson was let go. Kevin McReynolds down in Arkansas on an off day said, you know, we did kind of have a country club type atmosphere. But he said, I don't think I'm going to be here if Davey Johnson here. I mean, out of one side of his mouth, he's saying, well, you know, maybe he was too lax. On the other side, he's saying, well, I really miss him. But now he's changed his tune. That 20-7 had something to do with it.
Yeah, you got a guy in the on-deck circle as Jeffries hits here. Darryl Strawberry, who said it's the final straw when Johnson was fired. And, yeah, the only thing it was the final straw for was his slump. To the track in right field, but Braggs with plenty of room, and the Mets go 1-2-3, and that's the easiest inning for Rick Mahler tonight. On to the 6th, New York 4, Cincinnati 0.
winning. It can all come down to one spark plug, Champion. No other plug in the world has fired more drivers to victory than Champion spark plugs. Imagine what they can do for you. Champion, we race, you win. Win a trip for two to the Australian Grand Prix in the Champion We Race You Win giveaway. Enter now at your participating auto parts store or auto service dealer.
Yeah, we just scored. No, I didn't see Kevin get hit.
Kev, you okay? I wind up in the hospital, and Bob gets the winning goal.
I couldn't let Kevin miss the party.
I was having a pretty good time where I was.
Friends deserve the best.
Friendship. Just being there.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
I have to be flat on my back to get Bob to buy me a blue.
Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
If you're considering an Accord or Camry, consider Car and Driver magazine's report on the Mitsubishi Galant after a special 30,000-mile test. They called it an ideal car for a deep and meaningful long-term relationship, adding that over 30,000 miles, not a single thing went wrong with the Galant. That's right, nothing. Nothing went wrong. How many long-term relationships can you say that about? Right now, inventive incentives at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer can help you get a great deal on a new Galant.
Life's full of simple pleasures, like the comfort of Levi's jeans. Or had you forgotten?
Mets fans and Orangeman fan or two tuned in as well.
Similar colors.
Sure.
Yeah, they got it right.
4-0 Mets, top of the sixth, and Rick Mailer is through for the night as Herm Winningham pinch hits for him. Winningham 1 for 9 as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, that's when I asked him how he was. He says, I'm hanging in there. 1 for 9 will get that response.
77th at bat. 5 innings for Rick Mailer. 4 runs on 6 New York hits. Rick was really upset after the 4th inning, and I'm sure that was over the home run pitch to Mackey Sasser. He was really storming around the dugout.
Well, that's what undid him. I mean, you expect to give up home runs to Strawberry. But not to guys like Mackey Sasser. Just doesn't hit that many. Doesn't mean he's not going to get his base hits.
Fair ball. Easy play for Magadan.
Well, that evens out the numbers. 1 for 10.
2 walks and a strikeout. 2 homers among the 6 hits given up by Rick Mailer in 5 innings, and he stands to see his record drop to 2 and 3 unless the Reds bail him out. Back to the top of the order and Billy Hatcher. At the letters for a strike. Hatcher went up the middle his last time and singled off Ojeda. On a dandy play by Howard Johnson to start the ball game, he was robbed of a base hit. 1 for 2, and it's about to be 1 for 3. Magadan led Ojeda perfectly to the bag.
We apologize. We're standing by with technical difficulties at Shea Stadium in New York, where the Mets have the lead over the Cincinnati Reds. The game is in the 6th inning. We'll get back there in just a few moments' time and continue with more baseball tonight.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
To fax or not to fax is no longer a question. Which fax to buy is. Hello, I'm Barbara Champney for Minolta. And the answer for your business might be the Minolta Fax 361. Minolta designed it with performance in mind, so it has all the features you've been looking for. And one that you'll be particularly impressed with, the price. The Minolta Fax 361 is one fax that will be very well received.
Ah, Saturday morning. Time to climb up on the old lawn tractor and ride. Well, if this is what it feels like, maybe you should look into a new Honda. With its smooth-running, liquid-cooled engine, hydrostatic transmission, and super comfortable seat, it takes care of you as well as your lawn. Test drive the new Honda hydrostatic transmission lawn tractor and put the old lawn tractor out to pasture.
Cooling your house efficiently can be a tough job. Learn how to do it with the facts about energy-efficient central air conditioners and heat pumps. It's all in the Heil Home Comfort Guide, free when you call this number. Learn how systems work, about efficiency ratings, about units from the inside out. Call Heil for your free copy of the Home Comfort Guide. Heil Home Cooling Systems, the energy savers.
We will try to get back to Shea Stadium in New York in just a few moments' time. The New York Mets with a 4-0 lead over the Cincinnati Reds. The Mets trying to win their 11th consecutive game that would tie a club record. Of course, the Cincinnati Reds have the best record in baseball. We'll get back there in a moment, but first let's check the rest of the scores from around the National League, and we will start things off in Montreal, where the Expos have tied the game against Atlanta. It's 1-1. Tim Wallach has a home run, and Justice with the RBI single has driven in the run for the Atlanta Braves. They're tied at 1 in the 5th. Houston and Philadelphia scoreless in the top of the 5th inning. Games which will start later. Chicago and San Diego. That one starts at 10:05. St. Louis and Los Angeles. Some of you will see that here on ESPN at 10:35. Part of our doubleheader. And Pittsburgh and San Francisco. The Pirates could be in trouble if the Mets win this game and they lose. It would be a tie in the National League East. Let's check the American League now. The Toronto Blue Jays struggling. They have lost 4 consecutive games, all to the Boston Red Sox, to drop out of first place. Hosting the Oakland A's, who were struggling as well, but not tonight. John Cerruti to Ricky Henderson. This 2-run home run scores Walt Weiss as well. Dave Henderson had a 2-run home run when Ricky Henderson was aboard. And so the A's have a 4-0 lead. Meantime, the Rangers and the Red Sox, the team the Blue Jays are chasing, the Red Sox, 4th inning, Charlie Hopp, the knuckler to Dwight Evans, his 9th of the year, 375th of his career, but they were not done with the Red Sox. Ellis Burks, the next batter, this one up into the net over the Green Monster as well, out and left, his 10th of the year. The Red Sox with a 3-1 lead at that point. Boston Red Sox with a lead in the American League East is at a game, 3.5 games right now. They're trying to push it. Of course, they got that lead by knocking off the Toronto Blue Jays 4 consecutive times. They're up 3-1 in the top of the 5th. California and Cleveland, it's 3-2. That game is now in the top of the 4th inning. Candy Maldonado with a solo home run, his 13th of the year. Webster with a sacrifice fly. Wally Joyner with a sacrifice fly. Parrish has driven in a run, as is Max Venable. Oakland and Toronto, we showed you highlights from that game. Dave Henderson had a 2-run home run, his 14th of the year. Ricky Henderson with a 2-run shot as well. Oakland leading the Jays. It's 4-0 in the top of the 5th inning. Baltimore at Minnesota. Minnesota's Brian Harper with an RBI single in the 4th inning. The only run in that game, 1-0. The Orioles have been struggling. The Yankees are down to the White Sox. The White Sox started the day tied with the Oakland A's atop the American League West, 1-0 in the top of the 3rd on a Ron Kittle home run. Detroit and Kansas City are scoreless in the 2nd, still to come. Milwaukee and Seattle at 10:35 Eastern Time. Apparently, we have solved the problems at Shea Stadium. It's between innings right now, but let's get back there right now to join the Cincinnati Reds and the New York Mets at Shea Stadium. Gentlemen.
All right, John, thank you very much. Bob Carpenter with Jim Palmer. And let's tell you what happened while you were away. The bases were empty with 2 outs, and Barry Larkin singled up the middle hard. Bobby Ojeda, grateful that ball didn't go right through the pitching box. And with 1 on and 2 out, he had quite a battle, Jim Palmer, with Eric Davis. And on a 2-2 pitch, a high, hard one struck him out for his 7th of the game.
Take a look at it. 2nd consecutive time. Eric Davis down on strikes. Pretty similar pitches. Now, before that, you were unable to see about 3 home run swings. But Ojeda, though not a strikeout pitcher, has gotten the strikeouts, yet to walk anybody. 7 strikeouts. His career high is 10. That happened back in 1986.
And as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 6th inning, they'll face a new pitcher. Earl Strawberry will be followed by Howard Johnson and Mark Carrion. And on the mound will be a 26-year-old right-hander, Tim Leana, originally drafted by the Reds from the Yankees organization back in December. 4 seasons in the Yanks organization, 3 as a starting pitcher. Switched to the bullpen last year and found good success. He had 17 saves to lead the Eastern League, but now the Reds have it.
Right out of Double-A. Numbers real good. You talk to Lou Pidell, you talk to Stan Williams, you see what they like about not only the short men, the nasty boys, is they just have a lot of depth in this bullpen. And what Tim is going to try to do is hold the Mets right there. That's going to be a lot easier to try to talk about than to do as Strawberry leads it off there in the 6th.
Well, he made the staff as a reliever, and right now the Reds need another starter. They will dip down into their AAA club in Nashville and bring up Scott Scudder, a highly thought-of prospect in their organization, with Jose Rijo going on the disabled list. But right now it's Leana against Strawberry, Johnson, and Carrion. Strawberry, last time he led off, the ball landed in the bullpen in deep right field for his 17th of the year. Popped up with a couple of men aboard in the 3rd. And he can't catch up with a breaking ball. Strawberry now over 18 ball games, 9 homers and 24 RBIs, and to left center field that one went, and he's swinging well. There's not a ballpark left center anywhere that'll hold his drive.
Well, a lot of people say he has not a slow bat but a long swing. I had a chance to play with a guy with one of the longest swings, most valuable player in 1970, Boog Powell. So a lot of times when you have a long swing, he can get a little bit out of whack, but not lately. And if you want to ask Darryl to smile, just say Jose Canseco. How much did he get? Darryl, a free agent after this season. That is, if he does not sign with the Mets.
And lately, indications are that his mind is more open to that than it was maybe a month ago when the ball club was still struggling. Howard Johnson has scored 2 runs to go with those 2 hits, has stolen a base. You know, Darryl Strawberry told me before the game, the biggest thing he's learned is to take what the game gives him. Now at this stage of his career, he realizes he's finally learned that, and he's quit trying to win every game on every swing. Nicely done. Morris and the pitcher Leana, 2 outs.
Well, you know, with a bout with alcohol rehab, of course, Darryl's always been, I mean, he's a nice guy, easy to talk to, but came up at a very early age. This is his 9th year with the Mets. Hard to believe that it seems like only yesterday he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But a nice man that is finally, I think, getting in touch with what he and who he really is.
You want to build a team? Take those 2 guys. Strawberry and the man sitting to his left. Dwight Gooden's won his last 4 starts.
Well, now 7-5. Darryl's only 28. You know, he had 216 home runs coming into this year. Now he's up to 233 home runs, and he's only 28 years of age.
Mark Carrion has singled to right center and grounded to first.
I think he needs an agent.
Strawberry?
I'll even take 3%.
He was talking to some of the veteran reporters hanging around his locker, gentlemen that have been around the game 20, 30 years, and he said, you guys must be amazed at what's happening with these salaries. And I have a feeling he's going to amaze them all over again himself. Did he go? Did not, says first base umpire Dana Demuth, and the count evens 2-2.
Lou Piniella saying, hey, that was a strike. Of course, if Lou was hitting still, I held up.
Down the line at first, Morris with the backhand to the bag himself, and 3 grounders for Leana. And now the Mets have gone 8 in a row since Sasser's homer, but lead by 4.
Baseball, there's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the thrill of a home run, the roar of the crowd. Where do you find baseball like this? V.J. Keefe Field, the San Antonio Missions. July 3rd and 4th, the Missions go up against the Midland Angels. July 3rd is Beach Towel Night. The first 2,000 people get a Missions towel from Slim Fast. July 4th is Golf Cap Night. The first 2,000 people get a Missions golf cap from Stop and Go. Immediately following the game, there'll be an outdoor concert given by Asleep at the Wheel, followed by a fireworks display sponsored by Seiko Air Freight.
Attention, Paragon Cable subscribers only. On Saturday, June 30th, KRRT Fox 35 is moving to Cable Channel 7 on Paragon Cable. This change will not affect viewers that don't have cable, nor will it affect viewers on other cable systems. So remember, if you're a Paragon Cable subscriber, watch KRRT Fox 35 on Paragon Cable Channel 7, starting Saturday, June 30th. And if you're a non-cable viewer, keep watching us on UHF Channel 35.
Summer Toyotathon is in its last days, so it's your last shot at Toyotathon savings.
If you even think you're interested in a new car, get down here now.
Hear what last week's Summer Toyotathon buyers are saying.
I picked up my new Camry today, and I'll tell you, it saved us a bundle, right, hon?
Yes, indeed, and we saved $2,200.
Don't you miss it. Toyotathon has always been the best time to buy.
And with these special Summer Toyotathon deals, it's better than ever. But you can't afford to wait any longer, so come on in.
Right-hander Jim Maloney was the Reds' ace back in the early and mid-60s, and he actually pitched 2 no-hitters in 1965. His first was June 14th against the Mets. He struck out 18 through 10 no-hit innings, but lost the no-hitter and the game 1-0 in the 11th. 2 months later, though, he won a no-hitter, but that one went 10 innings as well, as he was a 1-0 winner. Back here at Shea Stadium in 1990, just a couple of years later, a new generation of Reds down by 4. Chris Sabo has been retired a couple of times. He's the leadoff man, followed by Braggs and Morris against Bob Ojeda. 1 hopper. Howard Johnson. Easy play. 1 out.
Reaching out in front. Boy, there are throwers and then there are pitchers. Bob Ojeda is a pitcher. A lot of young pitchers don't really put a lot of thought behind what they do. Ojeda learned from really not having that much ability, just having enough and being smart enough to hang around the big leagues. This is his 9th year. Now, if you're a left-hander, where could be a better place to learn to pitch but Fenway Park? Might be a little painful at times. I mean, Tudor learned up there.
And lefties will tell you, you've got to pitch inside to right-handed hitters at Fenway. Same thing Bruce Hurst did when he was there, but look at that precision. Basically 2 strikes for every 1 out of the strike zone.
It's a great percentage. No walks.
And a 3-0 count here to Glenn Braggs, whose 11-game Cincinnati hitting streak is at stake. I guess you could call it an automatic one with Ojeda throwing. Now the count goes full. June 9th is when Glenn Braggs, with Billy Bates, who's now in the minors, came from the Brewers. And he rifles one up the middle, and now it's an even dozen he's hit safely in for his new ball club. Tony Perez huddling with him over there. Braggs' mustache for the first couple of games with Lou Pinella's Reds, and then after he shaved, he really went crazy. 4 hits on June 13th after he got clean shaven like the rest of his teammates.
A lot of potential in Glenn Braggs. The Brewers with Greg Vaughn feel that he was dispensable and needed pitching.
You look at the good ball clubs, they make intelligent deals to pick up role players and some starting players. There's Todd Benzinger in between Chris Sabo and Eric Davis. Benzinger out of the lineup tonight. But there's Morris, another guy at the plate. They picked him up for Tim Leary from the Yanks. Now, he was an International League batting champ a year ago with a .326 season at Columbus when he hit 17 and drove home 66. But like a lot of young prospects in the other part of town north of here, a little trouble sticking with the big club with the Columbus to New York shuttle operating.
I got to think that maybe, just maybe, they could have found a place to play this young man.
You would think so. Into left center, over to get it, and in is Keith Miller for the second out. And Glenn Braggs returns back to first base. ESPN's usual Tuesday night doubleheader comes your way. The Astros and Mets. Some of you will see the Angels at the Skydome against the Blue Jays at 7:30 Eastern Time. And the nightcap will have the Pirates and the Padres battling out west. Some of you will see the Cubs and the Dodgers next Tuesday night on ESPN. Then, of course, the 4th of July doubleheader we told you about earlier. Mariano Duncan will be the hitter with a runner aboard and 2 outs. ESPN's baseball tonight from Shea Stadium in New York City. And the Mets after their 41st win of the year and a possible first-place tie with the Pirates, who throw Neil Heaton 10-2 at San Francisco against Trevor Wilson 3-0 later tonight. Pretty good pitching matchup at Candlestick. Pirates may take the field knowing that they'll have to win to stay in first place.
Well, had a chance to do Pirates in Montreal last year. Jim Leyland saying he didn't really think the pennant race would start till September. Maybe, just maybe, things have changed. The Mets playing so well.
Chopper right side. It'll sneak through as Jeffries can't get it. And for the first time tonight, the Reds put 2 hits together in an inning. They had single hits in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
You've got to hold them on. And this is why Duncan, I told you earlier, hitting .382 earlier in the year, just hitting the ball where it's pitched. That's just a routine grounder. The second baseman playing up the middle. Nobody there. Nobody home.
Braggs at second. Duncan at first with Joe Oliver the hitter. But Jim, don't you think if the Pirates were to fall out of first place now, that's a pretty big blow to them. They're a ball club that has been there most of the season, and they know how well the Mets are playing. It's a huge psychological factor.
Well, of course, what you hope if you're Jim Leyland and the Pirates, you hope your pitching gets well, and you hope that the Mets wake up. And of course, only time will tell. Are the Mets going to score 7 runs a game the rest of the year? I doubt it.
Will Rob Dibble throw 100 miles an hour the rest of the year? Probably.
Well, he'll try to throw 100 miles per hour the rest of the year, that's for sure.
And he'll get in his share of controversies. Oliver takes one up and away. If he extends the inning, we'll see Leana depart. Lou Piniella pinch hit, thus a new pitcher. Down by 4, the Reds desperately need a 2-out hit to change the complexion of this game.
Oliver with 5 home runs. Can drive the ball, though.
Boy, Ojeda has really worked well against him. With a man at second and 2 outs 2 innings ago, he fanned him. And now he's got him 2-2.
Tony Perez, what's the matter with Joe Oliver? He said he's young, he's inexperienced, and he's impatient.
Not a good combination against a pitcher like this.
Yeah, well, because Ojeda doesn't want to throw a strike. We'll see what he wants to do. Just off the corner. There it is.
Might have even been well off the corner, but a strikeout number 8 for Ojeda. 7th inning stretch time at Shea. They're going crazy. Up by 4.
If you've ever been stranded, you ought to get this new Interstate X2 booster. It's actually 2 batteries in one. So, when you run down your main battery, the extra booster battery starts your car. Interstate X2 booster. Best idea since a spare tire.
I say, put on some steaks and get the Queen a Bud Light.
Bud Light's clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never lets you down.
Henry, they're Pop-Tops.
Everything else is just a light.
Your Mitsubishi Motors dealer is bursting with ways to help save you money on all our award-winning cars and trucks. During our inventive incentive deal days, savings keep getting higher and higher with cash rebates up to $2,000. Or take advantage of factory-to-dealer incentives and special value packages on your favorite options. We're inventing incentives all over the place. So come in now while the savings are in the air. See for yourself just how high we'll go.
George Brett, first base, Kansas City. Barry Larkin, shortstop, Cincinnati. Karen Foster, student, Boston. Larry Cohen, dentist, Chicago.
Ever since Major League Baseball introduced the authentic Diamond collection of clothing and equipment identical to the pros, it's gotten a lot harder to tell the players from the fans. The authentic Diamond collection, a part of baseball you can call your own.
The preceding was furnished by Major League Baseball.
In Toronto, the A's and the Jays, Dave Stewart had been struggling. He had lost 4 of his last 5 starts, but not tonight against the Blue Jays. Here he strikes out Manny Lee, has a no-hitter into the 6th inning, including 6 strikeouts. It's 4-0. We will keep you updated. Back to Bob and Jim.
You better believe we'll keep our eye on that one up north as Stewart goes for win number 10 with a no-no through 6. Bottom of the 7th here in New York City. Bottom of the order for the Mets, who lead 4-0. Hits are even at 6. Mets have been retired 8 in a row since this man homered in the 4th inning. Mackey Sasser takes one low and away. Sasser doubling his home run output for the year with that shot to right field.
You notice how Sasser a little bit later on the pitches now that Liana's in there. Good fastball. We saw a curveball, a slider, and a split finger from Tim, all for 3 batters. He showed his whole arsenal.
Well, any power the Mets get from this guy is a bonus. Line drive hitter. Sort of like Magadan. When the ball leaves the park, it's almost an accident. Jim alluded to the runner at third, resulting in the fly ball that happened to carry out of here. But defensively is where Sasser has made the big turnaround, throwing out 38% of the base runners lately after the Mets were off to just a horrendous start, which really carried over from last year. Duncan with an easy play. Last year, opponents stole against the Mets 73% of the time over the 6-month period of the season.
Of course, the league average is right around 30%. Looks like we're getting a little bit of that rainfall. 30% chance tonight. Now it looks like 100% right here at Shea Stadium.
I think trickling down a bit.
Excuse me. The problem, another problem that Sasser had, of course, was calling games. You know, a pitching staff, a veteran pitching staff. You want to rely on somebody. They'd relied on Carter for all those years.
Up the middle. To his left, Larkin on the run. Couple of easy grounders. 5 consecutive ground ball outs by Liana. Coming up at 10:30 Eastern time tonight, the struggling Cardinals and the Dodgers battling. L.A. 10 games back of these Reds when the evening gets underway, so they're rooting for the Mets here. Vince Coleman and company. Coleman with 45 steals, on pace to swipe 100 again. Jose De Leon against Fernando Valenzuela with Gary Thorne and Norm Hitzges at the microphones at Dodger Stadium later tonight. Bob Ojeda with the rain falling and a nice hand for him.
Oh, he's pitching a whale of a game. First 7 appearances this year in relief. Then he's got to start back to the bullpen. It's in Harrelson. This is his 7th straight start since Bud Harrelson took over.
He ironically started on the night that Bud Harrelson managed his first game. That was a game in Cincinnati. The Reds beat the Mets 2-1. Tom Browning, the opposing pitcher. Time of the game, 1 hour, 59 minutes. Base hit left field. He adds to that 100 average. That one's for you, partner.
That's right. Oh, it was a lack of communication when he just told me what he liked about hitting was the fact that other pitchers got to hit. Not talking about his stroke, but he is hot. He is hot now. 3rd hit of the year.
He's asking Mike Cubbage what he thought of that stroke. Eric Gregg getting ready in case Ojeda is going to steal second here with 2 outs.
Again, just a perfect portrayal of a hitter. I mean, well, look at him. Just wait, and then just ping it to left field.
Top of the order. A bunt tipped by Miller, and that one got Joe Oliver. Trainer Larry Starr out to see him. Nothing you could do but wait this one out when you get hit where Joe Oliver did, and he'll take a little time before he steps back in. Oliver and Reed, the Reds catchers.
Well, Jeff Reed saying, I'm glad it's Joe's night to catch. Boy, that's a tough position.
Well, you talk to catchers around baseball, Jim, and really about 130 ball games is as many games as catchers, first-line catchers, expect to play in anymore. It's not like 150 or more than that anymore.
Well, no need to play that much.
Miller looks bad on the pitch, low and away, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, the amazing thing about the catchers in yesteryear that used to catch 150 games, they used to play a lot more doubleheaders. They would play 2 games, catch both ends of a doubleheader. Rain at Shea.
In the dirt, a ball and 2 strikes. The only good thing the rain does in this ballpark is it quiets things down because the takeoff pattern changes at LaGuardia.
Well, we should have known that early on in batting practice, and while we were doing some of our notes, they were coming right overhead, and then right when the game started, it seemed like it ceased.
Up the middle, easily to Duncan. He goes the short way to Larkin, 4-6. The Mets leave a runner. They've stranded only 3 tonight, but after 7, they still lead by 4.
You don't have to worry when rain's pouring down, 'cause your home can take it, whatever comes around.
Linseed oil penetrates wood. Sealants protect the surface. Olympic weather screen.
It's no wonder we'll stop the rain.
Olympic stops the rain.
Protect your home with Olympic products now and save an additional $2 per gallon.
Your Mitsubishi Motors dealer is bursting with ways to help save you money on all our award-winning cars and trucks. During our inventive incentive deal days, savings keep getting higher and higher with cash rebates up to $2,000. Or take advantage of factory-to-dealer incentives and special value packages on your favorite options. We're inventing incentives all over the place. So come in now while the savings are in the air. See for yourself just how high we'll go.
Before you hit the road, hit the one tire store that installs more kinds of tires on more cars than anyone else. Sears. And right now, Sears SuperGuard 40 all-season steel-belted radials with a 40,000-mile warranty are as low as $21.88. Installed in just 60 minutes on most cars. Check your Sears store for convenient 7-day-a-week service. For new tires, stop at Sears and stop with confidence.
ESPN Baseball Tonight, brought to you by Parts Plus. For name brands you can rely on, go to Parts Plus, America's family of auto parts stores. By your local independent ERA real estate specialist. By Budweiser, 6th king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. And by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. See them all at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer.
Rain has eased up a bit here at Shea Stadium. Top of the 8th, the pinch hitter, Luis Quinones for the Reds, as Tim Layana is finished after a couple of scoreless innings. There's a young man who's been around quite a bit. 6 organizations in the decade of the 80s he has played for.
7 for 15 as a pinch hitter. Last year saw him hit 2 home runs here in a start.
Left center field. On to lead off the 8th inning.
So an even 500 for Luis. 8 hits in 16 at-bats. Cincinnati still in the ball game, only trailing by 4, and that seems like a lot of runs, but they did see Franco last night. He came in and got the save. You never know.
And to win the ball game, the Mets certainly will have to face the middle of the Cincinnati batting order one more time at least. Hatcher top of the order up now. Larkin, Davis, Sabo, and Braggs to follow.
One thing I wonder about is on a hot and humid night, how far will Bob Ojeda be able to go? He's pitched 8 innings twice this year. Hasn't thrown a lot of pitches, though. Stottlemyre and Bud Harrelson, what are the things you look for? When he elevates the ball, when he gets it up in the strike zone, similar to the pitch that Quinones hit. Maybe when his control disappears.
He's behind the count here, 2-0. And if he puts this man aboard, Eric Davis represents the potential tying run in the on-deck circle with Larkin batting next.
And there'll be somebody getting up in the Met bullpen.
Well, Stottlemyre just called to get some folks loose. Bobby Ojeda, meanwhile, would like to see a nice ground ball at somebody on the New York infield. But way outside, 2 on, nobody out.
Jeff Ennis, the right-hander, and Jeff Musselman, the left-hander, up for the Mets. That's one thing you do not want to do, and that leads me to believe maybe he's a little bit gassed. Way outside, he's been able to come back even in 3-1, 3-2 situations. So they'll give him a little bit of time. And Bud Harrelson knows about that. He knows what an infielder can do to a pitcher. Come in, give him a little bit of advice, take some time at appropriate times. And a former shortstop.
Barry Larkin is up. Singled his last time up. He's been on base a couple of times, has swiped the base. And that's 5 consecutive bad ones. But the middle of the order, 231 at the highest against the Mets entering today.
So good pitching does stop good hitting.
And in this ball game, they're a collective 1 for 9 with Larkin's single, the only hit. There's the grounder he needed. Ojeda to Elster, over to Magadan, 1-6-3.
Perfect pitch. Now watch this throw from Ojeda. Sets himself. And Hatcher really gets down there, and they still turn the double play. Now watch Ojeda. He throws the ball. Now he becomes a fielder. Makes a good pitch. Sets himself. Chest-high throw to Kevin Elster, the shortstop. He flips it over to Magadan. They're not out of the inning, but they got 2 outs.
But Eric Davis can't hurt him that badly now. He can only cut the lead in half. Runner at third, 2 outs. Davis 0 for 3, all with strikeouts. He's been strikeout victim number 2, 5, and 7 of Bob Ojeda's 8 here tonight.
A 2-run shot last night. 2-0, you're pretty much in a position where you have to challenge Eric Davis. You're going to see a good swing unless he makes a perfect pitch.
Ripped into left field, and Cincinnati is on the board. Quinones scores RBI number 33 for Eric Davis, and it's 4-1.
Well, you can bet the ranch on a 2-0 pitch with a control pitcher like Ojeda is going to throw a strike. A home run hitter that has been hot like Eric Davis is going to really come off his shoes to get a good swing, and he did.
Reds have now out-hit the Mets 8-7. And in the 8th inning, it might be time to sit one of them down and start thinking about John Franco again. There's a base hit to left center. Davis will make the turn and motor over to third base. Miller returns it in, and now the tying run will come to the plate. With power, Glenn Braggs will step up as Sabo has his first hit of the night.
I would imagine that will be the last we see of Bob Ojeda. Ennis, a sidearmer sinker baller. Well, he's available to Bud Harrelson.
And as hard as Braggs hit the ball off Ojeda last time up, hard to believe that he'll be facing him again in a game-tying situation.
Well, we'll wait and see. Well, they do have some veteran left-handed hitters on the bench if they bring in Ennis. It looks like time is going to be called.
Bragg stepped out just as Ojeda went into his stretch.
You got Benzinger. Of course, he was going to start and didn't, so we don't know if he's hurt.
Ron Oster is a switch hitter on the bench.
Ken Griffey Sr.
Paul O'Neill, Jeff Reed, the others. All lefties except for Oster, the switch hitter.
Pretty apparent, maybe, that number one, Ojeda, is tired. Number two, maybe, Harrelson does not want to bring in the righty to face O'Neill.
Braggs rips one right over the head of third base coach Sam Perlazzo and into the first row. And the count goes even at 1-1. The Reds won 9 to start the season. The Mets have won 10. Cincinnati trying to get back close here in the 8th inning tonight. Down by 3 still. And Ojeda sunk that one away from Braggs pretty well.
At the knees on the corner. Come to their feet here for the strikeout, but Ojeda will take any kind of out.
And he almost got it past Braggs. That one was hit right off the top of the barrel. And on deck, Hal Morris, a left-handed swinger. To the shortstop. Elster got a nice big hop, and the Mets are out of it in the 8th. Reds get a run on 2 hits. They strand a couple. They've left 7, and it's still 4-1 New York.
Cars that.
A lot of cars in this town need parts from Parts Plus. Take a hint from your car. Go to Parts Plus for the quality name brand auto parts you need. Because Parts Plus sells name brand auto parts with quality you can rely on. The same quality name brands used by professional race car drivers. So the next time your car needs auto parts, come to Parts Plus.
We're America's family of auto parts stores.
A young couple came into my office today, wanted to buy their first home, and it reminded me of why I first went into real estate and why I'm an ERA broker. Sure, I earn good money, but ERA has the products and the services to help me build relationships and trust. If you're interested in the real estate business, talk to an ERA broker, because with ERA, you're more than a salesperson. You're a trusted friend. Guess that's why I think there's no better place to do business than ERA. ERA, first in service.
Happy 4th, Buds and Budettes. Well, we're halfway through Bud Summer, which means it's time for our halftime extravaganza. Let's do it. Right now, you can get your own genuine Bud wrap. Whoa. Look for displays where you buy Bud Light. Whoa. And Bud Light. And Bud Light. And you can win a Bud Label swimming pool. Whoa. Bud Summer keeps on rolling.
Nice wrap.
Introducing new extra-strength Rolaids, 250 milligrams stronger than Tums EX, 1,000 milligrams of fast relief. This settles it, once and for all.
Here's the Budweiser storyline from Shea Stadium. Good hitting, good pitching. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Strawberry with a solo in the second, his 17th, and he's now hit an 18 straight. Mackie Sasser, a rare homer to add to the lead, and Bob Ojeda has backed it all with good pitching through 8 innings, 9 hits, but only 1 run, as the Reds have stranded 7 runners in the game.
Yeah, 8 of those singles. Only a double by Duncan. Paul O'Neill in right field for the Reds. He was or at least he's been starting against both lefties and righties.
He will bat ninth as Lupinella makes the double switch, and Rob Dibble on the mound.
Yeah, just a guy you want to face in a rainstorm. 68 strikeouts in 43 innings. Last year in 99 innings, struck out 141. Does not give up a lot of hits. A 100-mile-per-hour fastball on occasion and a hard slider. You better gear it up if you're a hitter. I mean, this will be a good test. Magadan has just been, so hot at one point. His 11-game hitting streak, he was 22 for his last 43. We'll see if he can catch up with some of this high heat and low heat.
How hard is he throwing? His first delivery was 40 miles per hour faster than Rick Mailer's slowest delivery of the evening about 7 innings ago.
And that was a curveball. Dibble doesn't throw any. Just a hard slider and a fastball that could go anywhere.
But lately he's had a few control problems. He lost a game in Atlanta a week ago last night by walking 2 in the ninth. Tommy Gregg, a 100 hitter, hit one over the center fielder's head to win a game for Atlanta.
Yeah, well, check out his windup. It's not exactly controlled mechanics. Arms, legs going everywhere. Must be tough to pick up the ball.
Magadan takes one low and in, 3-1. Magadan takes it to left field, but right at Billy Hatcher.
Slow motion of his windup. High leg kick. I think what's most scary at the plate is he looks right at third base. Come on, Rob. Pay attention. You're throwing too hard not to look at home plate and pick up the catcher.
Yeah, it's almost like the hitter saying, how can his eyes pan 90 feet and get it into the strike zone? I've got to be in danger.
It can't sometimes. There's the slider. He's been a little bit, he would like to be a closer. Randy Myers and Norm Charlton on most occasions taking that role. That's where the money is.
Pulling the ball, Jeffries hit it right side to Duncan, 2 down. But Jim, there are a lot of guys in baseball who throw hard enough to be a closer but don't throw enough strikes.
Well, that's true. And as Rob said, I would be content staying where I am this year because I'm one of the nasty boys. Next year may be another case. I don't think they're letting him go anywhere.
6 of his 7 deliveries over 90. He's hit 96 twice already. And this is a great matchup. Dibble and Strawberry. If Strawberry hits one on the sweet spot, it's frightening to think how far the ball might go.
I don't think this is really a good matchup in the sense that Strawberry, again, a long swing. I mean, he is not as good a fastball hitter, in my opinion, as he is a breaking ball hitter. You throw Darryl Strawberry a slider, which, Dibble throwing 97, 98 with his fastball. His slider would probably be in the low 90s. He got a better chance of trying to catch up with that than a good, hard fastball.
0-2. Didn't take long.
Yeah, just playing catch with the catcher.
Dibble, a 1-2-3 inning. The Reds need 3 to tie as we go to the ninth.
Summer Toyotathon is in its last day, so it's your last shot at Toyotathon savings.
If you even think you're interested in a new car, get down here now.
Hear what last week's Summer Toyotathon buyers are saying.
I picked up my new Camry today, and I'll tell you, it saved us a bundle, right, hon?
Yes, indeed, and we saved $2,200.
Don't you miss it. Toyotathon has always been the best time to buy.
And with these special Summer Toyotathon deals, it's better than ever. But you can't afford to wait any longer, so come on in.
Attention, Paragon Cable subscribers only. On Saturday, June 30th, KRRT Fox 35 is moving to Cable Channel 7 on Paragon Cable. This change will not affect viewers that don't have cable, nor will it affect viewers on other cable systems. So remember, if you're a Paragon Cable subscriber, watch KRRT Fox 35 on Paragon Cable Channel 7, starting Saturday, June 30th. And if you're a non-cable viewer, keep watching us on UHF Channel 35.
Get double cash back on Olds, and you get a lot more than cash back. You get Cutlass Sierra Sedan, America's best-selling Oldsmobile, with stereo, air conditioning, room for 6, plus automatic transmission. Till July 3rd, get a new Cutlass Sierra with double cash back for a price as low as $11,270. Try getting all that elsewhere.
This is the new generation of Olds.
See your San Antonio area Olds dealers today.
Top of the ninth inning arrives at Shea Stadium, New York City, and the Cincinnati Reds, though they've out-hit the Mets by 2, trail by 3. Al Morris, Mariano Duncan, and Joe Oliver, the scheduled hitters against Bob Ojeda in quest of his first complete game of the year.
Oh, a man that just was left out originally by former manager Davey Johnson. First 7 appearances in relief after being a starter for the last couple of years. What a year he had in 1986, 18-5. Oh, he has pitched tonight. No throwing involved.
And last inning, when he struggled with control, he got the big double play ball. That was what kept him in the game and the Reds possibly from tying the ball game. The double play right in between a hit and a walk, and then 2 more hits to follow. And out of all that, Cincinnati gets 1 run. Breaking ball on 1 and 2, hit to Jeffries. Well, it looks like the Pirates in about 45 minutes will head for the batter's box at Candlestick Park against Trevor Wilson, knowing they have to win to stay atop the National League East. And Jim, it's been a quick turnaround in that division over the last 3 weeks.
Well, again, partly because the Pirates have struggled, but then again, when you are in first place and you see a team like the Mets just playing so well, you just got to hope that they just can't keep doing what they've been doing, getting, improving pitching and scoring as many runs as they've scored. I mean, only 4 runs tonight. They've had a bad night after averaging 7 over the last 20 or 21 ball games.
But as usual lately, they got them early. Ojeda can't reach it. Jeffries can. No play. And they'll hold him to a base as the ball missed going into the dugout. You have to think that'll be a hit for Duncan. Looked like he was beyond the bag when the ball got there anyway. So it's a 3-hit night for Mariano Duncan.
Well, still learning how to play second base, and the only way you throw out Duncan is if you cheat a couple of feet in as an infielder. Duncan having an outstanding year with the bat. Came in hitting .301, 3 base hits. It's most likely up to right around .310. But as an infielder, you just got to anticipate. You're going to let a guy like Duncan get on. You got to let him. You don't want to give him an infield hit.
Bob Ojeda will lead to a standing O at Shea.
If you're considering an Accord or Camry, consider Car and Driver magazine's report on the Mitsubishi Galant after a special 30,000-mile test. They called it an ideal car for a deep and meaningful long-term relationship, adding that over 30,000 miles, not a single thing went wrong with the Galant. That's right, nothing. Nothing went wrong. How many long-term relationships can you say that about? Right now, inventive incentives at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer can help you get a great deal on a new Galant.
Nothing beats it.
Nothing beats it.
Nothing beats it.
The one and only.
Nothing beats it.
The clean, the crisp, the cold. The king of beers.
Nothing beats the Bud. Nothing beats the king of beers. Nothing beats the Budweiser. Nothing beats the Bud.
Most famous 24-hour endurance race and the scene of a major triumph for Jaguar and Goodyear. For both Goodyear and Jaguar, it was a double triumph. First and second at the 24 Hours of Daytona in February, and now first and second at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Superior performance. It's why Jaguar chooses Goodyear, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
you buy a case of Kendall's most popular motor oil. Pour it in and pour it on. And pour it on.
4-1, Mets lead in the top of the ninth. Right-hander Jeff Innes in relief of Bobby Ojeda. Innes, after Ojeda pitches 8 1/3 innings, scuffles his way to 10 hits given up, but still only responsible for up to 2 runs. And Innes, a right-handed setup man out of that New York bullpen.
Yeah, the term is scattered 10 hits. And that's what he did. Not a lot of extra base hits, only the one by Duncan. Jeff Innes, kind of a sidewinder. You don't see too many of those at the major league level. Terry Leach, a former Met, now with Kansas City. But he earned his stripes by his performance in Tidewater early in the year. 4-0, an 0.64 ERA. So Cincinnati, Ken Griffey Sr. specifically, will see somebody that you don't normally see, a guy that throws from an arm position. That's a rarity in the major leagues. And it's not overpowering. He's just going to sink the ball and throw you a little breaking ball.
Well, Griffey and Quinones are the Reds' 2 best pinch hitters. Quinones 6 RBIs, and Ken Griffey is 5 of 19 with 3 runs batted in as a pinch hitter. Those his overall numbers. And you remember we told you earlier that O'Neill is hitting 9th, so 2 good left-handed hitters for Innes to battle here in the 9th inning. We're tracking Dave Stewart's attempted no-hitter in Toronto, a reminder. And that will be coming up next. John Saunders will bridge us together. John Sanders and Tommy Hutton are calling the action up in Toronto tonight. And we may get a chance to peek in on Stewart's possible no-hitter as he's worked it into the late innings with Oakland winning at Toronto.
Well, he got some runs, so I had a chance to pitch a no-hitter once. He got 8 runs that night, so I picked who I wanted to pitch to, especially in the 9th inning.
0-2 delivery, and Griffey took one just out of the strike zone. 1 on, 1 out. Reds down by 3 in the 9th inning.
Yeah, how do you hit a side armor? Well, a lot of guys will tell you move up in the strike zone, move up in the box a little bit so they get the ball before it breaks. Having the rising fastball, this ball is going to sink.
Griffey with a drive to right field. Strawberry retreating to the track, and he's got it.
Bob, I thought that ball was history. Wind blowing from left to right. Maybe Griffey got it on the end of the bat, but he had a home run swing, and off the bat, it looked like it was going to be 4-3. You can tell right here if he got it flush. He had to reach for it with one hand. Trajectory looking like it's going to go. Just died just short of the wall.
About 360 feet away, and now O'Neill is the hitter. Innes, after his first save after 8 at AAA this year, 10 a year ago at Tidewater. And he's got to like this situation because Innes, in his first 3 years, was in 62 games for the Mets, and in 55 of them, they were trailing. Now this is 3 in a row when they've had the lead. Suddenly, a gale storm comes blowing into the horseshoe that is Shea Stadium. It'll be tough to hit one out now, unless you pull it right down the line. There's a shot to left center. Around to third goes Duncan. The ball is fumbled, and that'll enable the hitter to get to second base. It'll be a single and an error.
O'Neill must have heard you, Bob, because he says, hey, let's not pull it, even though the wind is blowing out to right. Miller, first year in center field, just misplays the ball. Looked like he was trying to throw it before he really got a firm grip. 4-1, that run is not mean that much. The run that means something is Billy Hatcher at home plate.
They've ruled it a 2-base hit rather than an error.
Very generous.
Yeah, they must have figured the wind blew something into Keith Miller's eye, or
how do they know that?
Like that.
How do they know that, Bob?
But they must. But look at the flag now. Hanging limp all night long. Wrappers all over the place, and the wind is blowing in from left center. It's like candlestick here over the last 2 minutes. Billy Hatcher, the hitter. Dave Stewart, by the way, has completed 8 innings in Toronto with the no-hitter still intact. ESPN's Baseball Tonight will keep you up to the minute on that development up in Toronto. Hatcher was reaching, and it's back upstairs, 0-2. The Mets are a strike away from a possible first-place tie.
And what the Mets are having happen, if you look at the line score, Cincinnati out-hit them last night. But the Mets, with the power, 2-run home run by Sasser, solo home run by Strawberry, lead on the scoreboard. That's what counts. They're going to call timeouts because it was debris on the field, balloons blowing across the infield.
The easiest way for Innes to get out here would be somebody to hit a ground ball. With the wind doing this, I'm not sure you want it up in the air. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And he throws it away, making it 4-2. The potential third run is over at third base now. Wild pitch is ruled.
I just held on to it a little bit too long. It's about the most simplistic way of explaining it. If you sit on the bench, you'd say that was an awful release point.
Little chopper. Hatcher's got speed. The throw by Sasser got him. And the Mets win it 4-2. One run on 2 hits for the Mets, or rather the Reds in the ninth. Buddy Harrelson is now 21-7 as Lou Pinella's Reds lose it 4-2, and the Pirates will take the field in San Francisco having to win tonight.
Yeah, great job by Ojeda against Strawberry, as he's been the last 18 games or so. 9th home run in 18 ball games, and then Sasser, unlikely hero with a 2-run shot. That was the difference as the Mets beat the Reds.
The Reds out-hit the Mets 11-7, but lose 4-2. For Jim Palmer, Bob Carpenter from Shea Stadium. Back to our Baseball Tonight studio. Here's John Saunders.
Thanks a lot, Bob and Jim. 4-2 is now the final. The New York Mets now just a half game behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. Should the Pirates lose at San Francisco, the Mets will have moved into a tie for first place. They've won 18 of their last 20 games, 11 straight. This is the 4th time in team history that the Mets have won 11 straight. That is a team high. Twice before when it happened, in 1969 and 1986, they went on to win the World Series, so the Mets are on a roll. But something else we have to report. We have an outstanding game going on in Toronto. The Oakland A's and the Toronto Blue Jays. Dave Stewart has a no-hitter, and he will take that into the 9th inning, a no-hitter through 8, where he will face scheduled to bat Manny Lee, Mookie Wilson, and Junior Felix, all switch hitters. We will take you there in a moment's time. Dave Stewart has 10 strikeouts in the game and 2 base on balls. He's retired 23 consecutive Blue Jays. He'll take it into the 9th inning, going for the no-hitter against Toronto at Skydome, and that's no easy task. A reminder, we still have a second game to come here on ESPN at 10:30 Eastern Time. We'll move it to Los Angeles. The Dodgers at Dodger Stadium hosting the St. Louis Cardinals. Jose De Leon, he's 6-5 on the season, will face Fernando Valenzuela, who's 5-6. Both of these teams have lost 4 of their last 5 games. In fact, the Cardinals, a team many people picked to finish first in the National League East, they need a win to escape the National League East cellar. We'll get you there at about 10:30 Eastern Time. But in the meantime, let's update some scores and highlights, and we'll start back up in Canada, where it's the Montreal Expos at the Big O Olympic Stadium, and they're hosting the Atlanta Braves. The Expos struggling as of late, as they were only a half game back at one point out of first place, actually took it over from the Pirates. Dennis Martinez rolling early. Martinez gets Dale Murphy looking. He had 5 strikeouts through 3 innings. But in the top of the 4th, it's scoreless. Dave Justice Singles up the middle. Jeff Treadway scores 1-0. The Braves on top. Then Tim Wallach with some great defense, robbing Ron Gant of a hit. Wallach not only doing it with the leather down at third, but with the lumber as well. Bottom of the fourth, Tom Glavine protecting the shutout, not for long. Takes it out to the opposite field, 12th home run of the year, ties the game at 1-1. But the Braves have come up with a couple of more runs. Odeby McDowell has driven in one, Jeff Treadway as well with RBI singles. 4-1 is the lead. Now the Atlanta Braves have it in the 7th. Jim Presley had to leave the game in the 5th with a strained elbow. He dived to stop a ball and didn't get it. Wallach had 12 home runs in 88, 13 in 1989. He's on a roll this year. Now at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, the Astros and the Phillies. Defensive battle in Philly. Astros with a man on first. Bill Gullickson lays down the bunt. Darren Dalton up with it. Guns it to second. 1 out. The relay. Eric Yelding then trying to steal second. Dalton guns it. Tommy Herr digs it out. Comes up with the tag. The Phillies continue with the tough D. Rafael Ramirez hits the shot to second. Tommy Herr comes up with it. Makes the throw from his knees and records the out. Bottom of the 7th. Phillies lead 1-0. And Lenny Dykstra, the National League's leading hitter, goes deep to right. It's gone. His 4th home run of the year. The Phillies take a 2-0 lead on the game. The Astros have 13 consecutive losses on the road, tying a team record in a single season. That happened back in the 60s. Combs 4-6 as a 6th hitter on the season. Charlie Hayes driven a run 27 this year. And Lenny Dykstra with the solo home run. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have more in just a moment. We'll update Dave Stewart and his quest at Skydome in Toronto for the no-hitter. Stay with us. We'll return. Good job, Allie.
A lot of cars in this town need parts from Parts Plus. Take a hint from your car. Go to Parts Plus for the quality name brand auto parts you need. Because Parts Plus sells name brand auto parts with quality you can rely on. The same quality name brands used by professional race car drivers. So the next time your car needs auto parts, come to Parts Plus.
We're America's family of auto parts stores.
If you can't get enough of your favorite toppings, Pizza Hut has the pizzas you'll love.
Do you love me?
The Meat Lovers Pizza. 6 mouth-watering meat toppings smothered between 2 luscious layers of cheese. And now the new Veggie Lovers Pizza with peppers, mushrooms, and tons of other great veggies. Now get a Meat Lovers or new Veggie Lovers for $9.99. Any 2 for just $4 more.
Do you love
Meat Lovers, Veggie Lovers. Now who do you love?
Pizza Hut? Making it great.
4 times 6. 24. 4 times 7.
Feel the thrill again. Join us at the ballpark.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Dave Stewart on the mound in Toronto in the 9th, looking for his no-hitter. Let's go there now to Toronto.
We welcome all of you who have been watching the Mets and Cincinnati. New York winning its 11th in a row. The drama here in the 9th inning is Dave Stewart going for the no-hitter. The first pitch is chopped foul at the plate by Manny Lee. Lee is 0 for 2. Stewart has struck out 10. He walked 2. They were the first 2 he faced tonight. I'm John Sanders along with Tommy Hutton, and we're delighted to have you with us for the final inning of this ball game in Toronto. 1-1 the count.
And we've mentioned it before with Manny Lee. He's not a good butter, even though he runs well, better than average speed. Probably won't try to drop down a bunt base hit.
Up and in, 2 balls and a strike. Defensively for the A's, the play of the game, Tommy talked about it earlier, probably came in the 4th inning. Fouled back, it's 2-2. That was Tony Fernandez bid for a base hit to right field. McGuire diving out to his right, made the play, came up and flipped to Stewart for the out. And then it was McGriff with a bullet to center field. Swing and a miss on a fastball up and out of the strike zone. Stewart is 2 outs away.
Let's see where the target is of Terry Steinbach. Every time he's called for the fastball, he holds the mitt up. He wants that fastball up. That's where the target was. When he's come with the forkball, he's dropped the target down a little bit. So far, the Jays obviously haven't figured that out.
Mookie Wilson to face Stewart. Mookie is struck out and grounded out. Swing and a miss. An overpowering fastball that he's taken into the ninth inning. He has just now crossed the 100-pitch mark.
And is not tiring at all after throwing 10 innings his last start.
The 0-1. Now it's 0-2.
And this has been the pattern of Dave Stewart all night, except for those first two hitters, as you mentioned, John, that he walked. He has gotten ahead to all the Blue Jay hitters.
After those two walks, nobody has been on base. He has retired 24 in a row. Swing and a miss, number 25, and he is 1 out away. That's 4 strikeouts in a row and 12 in the ball game.
Look at the target, up. See where Steinbach's holding it right even with the mask, and Stewart trying to go out in style.
Last chance for Toronto, Junior Felix. He's 0 for 2. Dave Stewart 1 out away from a no-hitter.
Junior a better bunter than Manny Lee. It's a possibility he may try to take one with him just to get on base.
Way up high for a ball. Dave Stewart on August the 4th of 1988 pitched a one-hitter against Seattle. He's got a shot at a no-hitter tonight. Balls behind, 2 balls and no strikes. Three and 0.
Really hard to control that adrenaline. Stewart knows where he's at in the game. He knows he struck out 4. He has 1 more out for a no-hitter. Trying to overthrow a little bit too much.
3 and 1. Felix was the first batter he faced, and Dave would like to see him be the last. Pop foul, it's 3 and 2. Stewart might be 1 pitch away from a no-hitter.
And he's just thrown nothing but fastballs to Junior Felix.
And the Blue Jay fans hoping to see a no-hitter. Here's the 3-2. Flipped foul, stays full.
I think he'd fool everybody in the ballpark if he threw Junior Felix a forkball right here.
Do you think he will?
All we have to do is watch the target of Terry Steinbach.
Will it be low or will it be high? That breaks the string of 25 in a row retired. Second time that he has walked Junior Felix. He'll now have to deal with Tony Fernandez.
You know, and the other thing he's going to have to deal with, if you think about it, he's going to have to deal with working from the stretch. Something that he hasn't done since the first inning. It's been a quiet Oakland Athletics bullpen all night.
It's been better than 2 hours since he's had to work from the stretch. Popped up and out of play.
Obviously, the infield of the Oakland Athletics not worried at all about Junior Felix, so Mark McGuire, the first baseman, well back of him.
And some protection at third as Lansford plays maybe a step or 2 in front of the bag at third. Fly ball center field. Dave Henderson makes the call. A no-hitter for Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart has thrown a no-hitter, allowing only 3 base runners, at one point retired 25 in a row. He was just in complete control and dominated Toronto.
He dominated all night, picking up his 10th win and even a little
messing around with the mound that John Cerruti did to try to pack up the rubber area didn't affect Dave Stewart tonight.
A no-hitter for Stewart. We will be back.
Winning. It can all come down to one spark plug, Champion. No other plug in the world has fired more drivers to victory than Champion spark plugs. Imagine what they can do for you. Champion. We race. You win. Win a trip for two to the Australian Grand Prix in the Champion We Race You Win giveaway. Enter now at your participating auto parts store or auto service dealer.
I've been working on cars almost 30 years, and this new Interstate X2 booster is awesome. The best idea I've seen since the spare tire. See, it's actually 2 batteries in one. So when you run down the main battery, the extra booster battery starts your car in a snap. Yeah, I'd recommend the Interstate X2 booster to anyone who's ever left their headlights on. Or the car door open. Or got caught in freezing weather. Or
the Interstate X2 booster. Call 1-800-CRANK-IT for the dealer near you.
Fernandez, the final out of the game as Dave Stewart records his first ever no-hitter. He does it against the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto. Dave Stewart was near perfect in this game. He would walk a couple of batters before retiring 25 batters in a row. 5-0 is the final. Stewart, who had struggled, he was 4 losses in his last 5 attempts to get number 10. And in this one, he picks up the victory with the no-hitter, first of his career, and 4 no-hitters in the major leagues this year. Mark Langston and Mike Witt, of course, combined on one. Randy Johnson of Seattle, he had the victory over Detroit. Nolan Ryan no-hit those Oakland A's. And now Dave Stewart has a no-hitter. Let's move on right now. The Yankees and the White Sox. The White Sox now, knowing that Dave Stewart had pulled off the no-hitter, would need a victory at home against the New York Yankees to keep tied for first place. And in this one, Kevin Moss, making his major league debut, pops up weakly to Ozzie Guillen at shortstop. 2 are gone after a walk to load the bases. Wayne Tollefson fenced in by Jack McDowell to end the threat. Then Ron Kittle leads off the bottom half of the inning with a monster shot. Watch Mel Hall just give it a look. It's way over his head into the upper deck. The White Sox take a 1-0 lead at this point. Chuck Carey looking for his 5th win of the year. McDowell 4-4, both ERAs over 4. White Sox enter the game with a 7-game winning streak, and should they pick up the victory, they would remain tied with Dave Stewart and the Oakland A's for first place in the American League West. The Rangers and the Red Sox, another first-place team in action. The Red Sox with a 3.5-game lead in the American League East. Brunasco with the blooper, fair down the line. Greenwell is stopped. They think it's a ground rule double, but the umpire rules fan interference. They send Greenwell home. Bobby Valentine protests the call. It took a little bit of time, but Dan Morrison finally gives him the heave-ho. Into the dugout, they would just about toss everyone, and so Valentine thought they should. Quintana grounds to Julio Franco behind the back, gets the 4th. Safe at first, though. Dwight Evans up, bottom of the 4th with 1 man gone, and Evans facing Charlie Huff over the Green Monster. His 9th home run, number 375 on his career. 2-1, the Red Sox have the lead. The next batter is Ellis Burke. Hits one deep to left field, just fair. His 10th home run of the year, back-to-back, 3-1 for the Red Sox. Top of the 6th, Rob Murphy on in relief, and John Russell strokes the base hit to center. 1 run comes in to score. Ellis Burks throws up Petrelli at the plate. It's a 3-2 lead at that point. The Boston Red Sox also trying to win their 8th consecutive game. Evans, as I told you, number 375 of his career. Ruben Sierra with an RBI single. He has really got it going, but rain has the game delayed now in the 6th inning. Charlie Huff still on despite giving up the back-to-back home runs. It's 3-2. The Angels and the Indians in Cleveland. Charles Nagy, the Indians' first pick in the 1988 draft, making his major league debut, showing the early jitters. This one just a little bit wild. Over top of everyone, Nagy trying to shake things off, but the jitters would continue. Nagy gets called for the balk here. Umpires with the hands up. That's a balk. McNamara comes out to argue. Nagy would receive the support as Candy Maldonado robs Donnie Hill. Diving in here, head first, comes up with a great grab. Second inning, Maldonado did it with the bat. This time over top of Luis Polonia's head. His 13th home run of the year. 1-0 for the Tribe. Fourth inning, 2-2 game. Max Venable singles. Dick Schofield comes in. The Angels at that point take a 3-2 lead. Lance Parrish has driven in a run as well. Wally Joyner with a sacrifice fly, and Devon White a 2-run home run, his 6th of the year. California leading Cleveland, who really had it going recently. 6-2 is the score in the 8th inning. Royal Stadium, Detroit and Kansas City. Top of the 3rd. Tony Phillips at first. On the hit and run, Alan Trammell lines the single to left. Phillips goes to 3rd. He would later score on a Cecil Fielder double play. Tigers 1-0. Bottom of the 3rd with runners on 2nd. Bill Pecota lays down a sacrifice bunt. Jeff Robinson's throw is wide, but Lou Whitaker grabs the throw, backing him up. Kevin Seitzer to 3rd. With George Brett up, Robinson uncorks the wild pitch. Seitzer scores. Royals would score another in the inning. Kansas City had it 2-1 after 3. Tony Phillips scoring on the Cecil Fielder, hitting into the double play. Tony Phillips with a home run as well. The game is tied 2-2 now in the 5th inning. Gerald Perry has an RBI single for the Kansas City Royals. The Orioles and the Twins at the Metrodome, and the Orioles have been struggling recently. 4th inning, no score. Twins with runners on the corners. Dave Johnson to Brian Harper, lines a single in front of Donnell Nixon. Herbeck scores 1-0 Twins. Now in the top of the 5th, Orioles with one aboard. Bob Melvin lines a single off Alan Anderson's breaking ball into center field in front of Kirby. Cal Ripken scores to tie the game at 1. Into the 6th then, Kent Herbeck, who had already blasted out a pair of doubles in the game, rips the solo home run off Dave Johnson. Herbeck 3 for 3 with an RBI, 2 runs scored. 2-1 the Twins. Bob Melvin and Craig Worthington had RBI singles for the Orioles, and the Orioles are now up 5-2 into the 8th inning. The Milwaukee Brewers have made a couple of pitching changes. Chris Bosio has been placed on the 15-day disabled list. He has some problems with a groin muscle. And also Teddy Higuera, who had the same trouble, has been placed or removed off the disabled list. Higuera was their top pitcher at this point. Now, Cincinnati and the New York Mets. The Mets had won 11 consecutive games, and that was the game you watched earlier here tonight on ESPN. Reminder, we still have another game to come in just a moment. And Dave Stewart, a no-hitter in Toronto, pulls it off. His first of the year, 5-0. They blanked the Blue Jays, and we'll hear from Dave Stewart in just a moment. Stay with us. Back in a moment.
They perform like great athletic shoes. And for a limited time, when you buy 4 B.F. Goodrich TA tires, get your favorite team jacket free. Distinctive styling, 100% cotton, with your choice of 26 Major League team logos. Hustle into a participating dealer for great performance tires and your free team jacket.
How fast and portable are Wagner's new cordless power painting systems? Just watch. The new cordless power roller automatically pumps paint to cover quickly and easily, with no runs or drips. The new cordless power brush is perfect for trimming any job, big or small. There's no better way to finish a job with flying colors. Anywhere. Cordless power painting from Wagner. Not just a whole lot faster, a whole lot better.
There's no dashboard light to warn you. No dipstick to check. Yet when warned, they could cause your car to lose control and braking. Don't find out your shocks and struts are worn by accident. Get your shocks and struts inspected at your Monroe retailer soon. Monroe, your safety could depend on it.
Stewart, the man of the hour. And, of course, that is the 5th no-hitter since the Oakland A's moved to Oakland. Mike Warren had the last in 1983 against the Chicago White Sox. Let's hear from Dave Stewart. He's with Ray Fosse.
I don't know how I did it, but we got it done.
When did you start thinking about it?
About the 5th inning on, I was aware that, I had one going, and I just kept thinking one hitter at a time, one strike at a time.
Stu, after the first 2 hitters, 2 walks to Felix and then Fernandez, did you ever in your mind think that this would happen after those first 2 hitters?
Well, I just figured, experience in having a slow start in the first innings, that if I just simmered down, I'd be all right. I never thought about throwing a no-hitter. I've had people mention it to me for a number of times, and I've always said, heck, I'll probably be the last to throw a no-hitter, and shoot, I guess it's just one of those things. But, before the game, I said a prayer and asked for strength, and it worked.
Dave, throughout the ball game, we were commenting, you seemed to have every single pitch you had working. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, it was a good night. I was getting a fastball over. When I went to the fork ball, it worked for me. And then, when I need to throw the breaking ball, even that worked for me. So it was a good night for me as far as, getting my pitches over.
You had a chance with George Bell, 3-2, and I know you like the challenge, but what was in your mind as far as the type of pitches that you were going to throw if you did get in the count where it was in the count, the favor of the hitter?
Well, I was just thinking, if the count goes in favor of the hitter, I'm just going to try to make the best pitch I can possible without, going to the middle of the plate.
Fred McGriff hit a ball to center field. We had the camera on you after the ball was going to center field. What was going through your mind on that? Looked like a fork ball that he hit to center field.
Well, I was thinking that he got it, and I wasn't sure. I didn't think he'd leave the park, but I thought he hit it well enough to maybe hit a double. And balls had been hit to center field all night long, but none of them were going out. So, it was just good fortune it didn't go out.
One thing about you, you seem to get stronger. You threw 135 pitches in your last start, 139 and before that. You come back on your 5th day. How strong were you towards the end of the ball game?
I felt real good. I thought I had a real crisp fastball tonight. Good movement, and I thought my location was great. I felt real good tonight.
Dave, when you went to the last innings, the 8th and 9th innings, was there any particular pitch that you said, if they're going to beat me, they're going to have to beat me with this pitch?
I guess you probably saw if they were going to beat me in the late innings, they're going to have to beat me with my number 1, which was a fastball. I used it, I think, very smart tonight. Set up my off-speed stuff by using a fastball. I changed speeds early in the count and went hard, and then second time around, I changed speeds later on in the count. I kept them off balance, I think, pretty much all night.
How about this artificial surface? The fact that you figure you hit the ball on the ground and has a better chance to get through. How much more special is it to do it in a ballpark like this?
Well, definitely. They had some balls that were hit pretty good on the ground tonight, but right at people. But